So they will traffic well in Keelan.
Yeah, but
because if I give you a coin that's worth 10 copper pieces, and made of copper, but the amount of metal in the coin is not equal to 10 copper,
then they're no good anywhere
We're
else.
taking it on faith that the value is still 10.
Makes
But
sense.
if you walk into the Yeomanry, which is fairly nearby, as I recall, you might not get that same exchange rate.
That's a good
You
point.
might think, oh, you know, that's a damn Keelanish coin.
Yeah.
Great point.
I'd rather not cope with that.
Yep. I
That's where you
often
have
do
money
that trick. That
come
yeah.
into the fun of it.
Back in the old days, they did clipping too. I mean, you know, it's so hard to find like a Roman or Greek coin, or even medieval coins that aren't clipped. You know, where they took a little, shaved a piece off of it. So.
Yeah, I often
The old
use that.
standard used to be that the coin itself contained enough metal to be equal to its face value. So for one gold piece, there was enough gold in it to actually equal that number, give or take an ounce. So that used to be a standard. But then as time went by, people realized that, you know, well, gee, this isn't working. We need something else. We need coins that have a multiplicity. So that's where you have a quarter that's now worth 25 pennies. But clearly the coinage is not worth 25 copper pieces. What is it made out of? Nickel, isn't it? Isn't the quarter made out of nickel?
Yeah, mostly.
They
Nickel
have
and copper.
An alloy of nickel and something else.
Yeah, but I think they're going away from nickel because a lot of people are allergic to it. So there's a lot of other
Zinc?
stuff in it. Yeah, they
An
have a
allergy
bunch.
to money.
What's up,
that's-
Carlos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know where are they going to from that. I don't know.
Well, they have a bunch of other metals they're using, I think, to get the coins. But now when we have fiat currency, what they're made of doesn't really matter. So.
What's going on, Carlos? Hopefully things are well, Alderon. Hopefully things are well with you and the rest of the crew. Good to see everyone tonight. It's going to be an interesting discussion because, you know, it's one of these where I don't know where we're going to end up, which is good. That's a fun thing. Some general.
One of the parts about an Economies that is really, really interesting is, let's say you have an acre of wheat. What on earth is that worth?
That's a good question. I mean,
How much wheat are you going to get from it? And how high does the wheat grow and how productive it is? Because over the years, wheat has gotten taller and taller and produced more material that can actually use to make breads out.
Yeah,
But
I guess it.
that's a big part of the economy, man. You have an apple tree and it's got some number of apples on it. Well, what's that worth?
Casey.
And then can you get it to market fast? It's a bitch to deal with all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So most of it you do by just ignoring. God forbid.
You use it as a campaign ploy when it's interesting and can be annoying to players and lift them up
Because
coin and stuff.
you yourself don't know what it's worth. What's an acre of X, whatever it is? What is this worth?
I try to.
What's an acre of strawberries?
I try to make some usable. I put various types of raw material and food stuff and so on to have a base price of it, and I have I use base price for everything, and then I have a local thing that I can tweak it up and down as needed because it's depending on the inflation or whatever. If it's kind of dire times, then might be a famine, then food prices go up and prices on everything else goes down, and stuff. So then when you you have like good times coming in big cities, then prices go up. So I have I try to just modify it up and down. And before I had an access database where I could just type in whatever the modifier was, and then the prices were adjusted automatically. So I could just tell the player, this is how much you can pay for something. And that was
Like,
Good evening, Phantom.
if you do in fact have fruit trees, fruit trees is going to produce its bounty within.
Yeah.
New ad. Ready for the new ad? Here it comes. Ah,
ta-da.
very basic.
Are those crocodiles or what?
Look at that. Well, come on. Look at that picture, and what does it give you reminiscing of?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you have the eye and stuff. So yeah.
It's reminiscing of the Player's Handbook, and it's
Yeah.
it was Castles and Crusades: Road to Adventure. Begin again your journey on Kickstarter through November 11th. If you want to check it out, I'll be posting this a lot. I know Phantom and myself are both pledged. A lot of other people have. Click on that tinyural.com. That'll take you at the bottom of all their stuff. It'll take you right to it. Click on that, and let's see what they got here. There are currently 348 backers, so some cool stuff for that. And yeah, it's a great picture. The artist is an in-house artist for Troller Games. I can get his name, but definitely. So very simple ad. So. They do have a collector's edition. Excuse me, collector's edition level. I think Phantom actually said he had signed up for that, and that's really cool. It's a leather-bound 8th edition Player's Handbook that they have. What's up there, Jason? Oh, please tell me that you can hear me. Okay, good. You had to have heard me. Phantom said, "Yep, I did." He had to have hear me if I was talking about that. Oh, all around scared me. All right, all around. Click the arrow bar over, because sometimes you have to move that arrow bar just a little bit once when you come to a new channel. It's very strange sometimes. Yeah. So just where your sound bar is in Twitch, yeah, you need to just move it slightly. So, could someone tell them that? Move your sound bar in Twitch.
And take your pants
back
off.
and forth a bit. All right, Economies tonight. Still got people coming on. Blue Box is not on tonight, so we'll have a little, used to them raiding in, which is always very nice. But thank you, John. I know John is out of town, so look at that. Woohoo! Brought my Milton Friedman textbook, and Gary's on, and the show just started. It's like, wow, that's cool. Awesome, Gary.
Are those siege machines on fire in the background?
Yeah, that is from the Greyhawk Wars box set, that picture. Yeah.
No, those aren't siege machines. Those are built on top of.
Yeah, those are parapet.
fortifications.
Yeah, those are fortifications on top. Never really says specifically where that is it, Anna, that picture?
Oh,
Mike?
hang on a second. It might be siege machines on the outside. No, I think that's There was. I remember there was some sort of debate in the Dragon magazine where that was, but
Yeah.
I forgot exactly. Maybe it's for you through the wars or something like that.
Coming on.
It's recycled.
It's been around many times from Dragon magazine to other stuff. So yeah.
Ta-da! Hello, everyone. Good evening, man. It's weird. As like after like last Sunday, it's like we're back to a normal week. It's like, So I'm J.K. Lorgazumba, and I have with me the usual suspects here: Anna Meyer,
Hi.
Greyhawk, Mike Bridges,
I'm back.
and Leonard Lakofka himself. Welcome, everyone. So we got an interesting question that came up in Discord chat that I want to tackle first before we do economies. And it was going back and forth, Len, about your thoughts on Cord. First off, when you were doing Lendor Isle, was the Scholar Brotherhood in your mind at all at that point, like with influence or trouble, or
No,
they were not?
no,
Not at all.
no,
Okay.
because I looked at the Sewell migrations and with Steve Wilson,
Okay.
he
Yes.
wrote up the chronology of things happening, and there were tribes or bands or clans, whatever you want to call them, of the Sewell who left the area before the whole cataclysm stuff occurred. So they were already on the road and moving.
Okay.
And you had the original 13 gods. I imagine the ones that were involved in the cataclysms were probably Pyramus and Cyrell and Beltar, probably. I don't think the good guys were involved in it.
Okay.
And then you couple them with mages, of course. And then the combination of the two. My mages and my high priests are bigger than your mages and your high priest. And then you both lose.
Len, they're saying you're a hair low, so you might want to just speak up just a hair, okay? They're saying you're a hair low there. Let me just see. You hear Len fine? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Here's the second question was, Cord, is Cord okay with what the Scarlet Brotherhood is about and the worship of the Scarlet Brotherhood worshiping
Oh,
Cord?
gee, I don't know. I never really went into that at all.
Okay.
I viewed Cord as being the major god from all the barbarian states,
okay.
along with Lurg. And Cord was also, because he was the equivalent of the god of war
Okay.
in that pantheon. And the number of worshipers he had is what made him a greater god. Him and Ouija and Lendor, the three greater gods of the pantheon.
Okay. So the answer to that is that not really at all with the Scarlet. Okay. Not really.
I didn't think about the Scarlet Brotherhood at all, but you'll notice on the map that has the people moving, there's an arrow that goes down into the area where the Scarlet Brotherhood is. That's
Right.
part of the Sewell migration.
Okay. But it had, yeah, all right. So those who asked that question out there, just want to, have Len answer that first before we move forward here. All right. So coinage, taxes, wealth. it's a what's the word to say? It's an all over the place topic, right, Mike?
Oh yeah, yeah. I started to jot down notes, and it's like, well, I filled up a page in like 5 minutes.
Good.
It's nuts.
Yep.
Good. So we'll have a lot to talk about tonight.
We'll see.
Anna, so you came up with this topic idea. What were your thoughts behind doing it?
Well, it was when I had my seminar that I touched a couple of topics, and then you said that's a topic for a whole show, and I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I kind of tried to keep up, and so I asked right away for and I think this is it's a broad topic in the way that it touches both world building on a large scale, so to speak, for world builders. You can go nuts with the national economies, war footings, whatever, on a world building scale. But it's also something that touched the adventuring party and the characters as they go, because you have the party economy and the kind of the mechanism of money as both a reward and also an enabler, and also a kind of a a hurdle to get over, so to speak. That is one of the mechanisms, just like XP and the availability of treasure and stuff. So it has something to do with how much of a challenge the game should be, and economy is one of these things you can dial up and down as a DM. And these two things in the perfect world or campaign world, they should kind of have attached a little bit, meaning the party economy and the players, how much money the characters and stuff can grab their hands on and so on, should be affected by how much what the economy looks like in the gaming world. That's kind of the academic answer why I think this is a very interesting topic.
It is definitely a very interesting topic, and I know Len had some thoughts right off the bat. Len, you want to share some about coinage and wealth and economy?
Well, in original D&D, you had 1,000 gold pieces. You literally had 1,000 gold pieces.
Yeah.
So you had the weight involved with that, the encumbrage involved with that, and then you had to get it out. And I gave my players absolutely no experience for getting it out, none, because they had the money to spend. So if you can spend the money and you get experience for it, you're double dipping. And I didn't let my players do that.
Yeah, I don't do that either. Never did money for gold. I mean, experience for gold. Never did it.
No. Well,
for
right.
Items.
But in the system, it allows you experience for getting treasure out of, quote, the dungeon or wherever it is, and getting it out. But no, that just doesn't play, because you get the money and you get to experience for it too. That doesn't work.
I agree 100%. Never used it. Never liked it. You get money, you get experience for completing missions, role playing, and some monster kills, depending on what
you get. If you find a sword and you pick it up and you fool around with it for a while, and you discover that you can detect magic with it, now you should get some experience points for doing the work of making that discovery. It might be a couple hundred experience points, for example. And then, in theory, you can discover the number of pluses on it by doing a mock battle between you and another party member. You begin to get a feel for, is this a +1 sword or a +2 sword? And it's subjective. Now, of course, if you throw Identify on it, then Identify will reveal the number of pluses that's on it. It gets complicated quickly.
So here's a couple questions from the audience from you on that. Nagoya Joe asks, why was that created in the first place, XP and gold piece value? Do you have any idea?
Well, I don't know. That's a Gygax creation.
Okay.
That goes back to ODD.
You mean like for magic items?
Yeah, it's for magic items too. And then Puppet asks, does no EXP for loot lead to murder or hoboing? And my answer is I certainly hope not. But I guess it could in certain campaigns.
Yeah.
I think the XP value for magic items, wasn't that if you didn't keep the magic item, but you got rid of it, you're getting XP in exchange for not keeping certain items.
It could.
You know what I mean? Like if it's an evil item, you destroy it, you get the XP for it.
Well, the other myth in the game is, and this shows up in is it The Hobbit? I think it's The Hobbit. The Smog. Smog was Gygax's stage name, by the by.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Hey.
He was Smog.
Interesting.
Anyway, but they claim that if a portion of his treasure disappeared, he knew about. How the hell he knew that? God only knows. I mean, it makes no common sense at all. I could understand a big piece leaving. Maybe I could understand. Like the what is it that they stole?
The cup. It was a little cup, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And the dragon became aware of the fact that had gone. But otherwise, it's nonsensical. because there are a number of dragons that are not all that bright in the first place, and they can't cast spells either. So how in God's green earth can they track the number of gold, silver, and copper pieces, so that if you come in and steal a bunch of stuff, literally acting like burglars, while the dragon is asleep or away, how does the dragon know that?
I think it's one of the perfect examples.
It makes no common sense.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's one of these perfect example, one of these things that just makes for an interesting plot twist. And then they never think about what mechanics is behind it or whatever. It's a one-off, and that dragon can just do this, and that just because it makes for an interesting twist in the story, so you just do it, so to speak.
Well, theoretically, you had a dragon who was sitting on his treasure hoard, and he was there for years and years and years and years and years. Where the hell did he get food to eat? What did he do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look at it this way. So I don't know if dragon hordes unbalance economies or whatever. And I'm going to be bluntly honest, because I tend to like to do that. I don't normally think about this stuff that much because it gives me a headache. Because I don't want to get into the minutia. And I know like some people do, and that's great. But like, and I realized that, man, they've changed the conversion rates for coins all the way through. I saw a chart where OD&D was different than Ronnie. It was 2 to 3. They're all different. For example, what I play, 20 silver equals a gold piece. I think OD&D is 10 or...
Yeah, I think 3.5 and the other ones are 10 because it's simple and easy and you don't have to explain it.
Right.
And then Pathfinder 2, they did an interesting thing. They inflated the value. So now it's a silver piece standard, not a gold piece standard, which I think makes... Yeah, I think makes sense because it's much better to have the standard in the middle of the value chain of coins rather than at the top or near top, because then you get things, instead of having things going to the hundreds of thousands of gold pieces, meaning tens of thousands of platinum pieces, it goes into the thousands of gold pieces at the very, very top. And so that because and also that makes more historical sense. The gold piece was never the standard in medieval economies. It was silver that was the top standard, so to speak. Gold was something that normal people never ever even saw. That was something that government kings did when they had dealings with each other and wealthy merchants and stuff like that, but not for everyday use really. That was copper and silver and other less valuable stuff.
I look at it this way: it's a fantasy game, so there's more gold. There's
there's more gold. But when you have things that start costing tens and hundreds of thousands of gold, then you either need to deflate the prices or invent some other currency further up the chain, like mithril coins or whatever you want, just to make it more practical or more worth the stuff. But on the other hand, you might want to limit the possibility of the characters for actually holding that much money physically by having it. So that's the other interesting thing is meaning, and also I'd never give an XP for treasure, period. No, treasure is something that it doesn't give you experience just to find gold pieces. It doesn't make you better at using a sword or you don't learn any spells from it. So
there was a system. I don't know if it was 2nd edition or something on Dragon, but I remember using it during 2nd edition, and it was spells for, or XP for casting spells, XP for killing creature, that was wizards, XP for fighters killing, XP for thieves was money. Yeah,
there's various things where you make
that makes
XP
sense to
and
me.
gold. Okay, yeah.
Once again, it's whatever you do as a DM is final. Absolutely.
And it also meaning it's what type of game you're running. Meaning you might not want to have any. You can meaning there are also versions where you basically abolish money by simply saying that you just aim for a certain living standard, and then you just make a roll to see if you have the money. And the higher standard you're trying to apply to, the harder that roll becomes. And then when you go and if you kill a treasure, then a dragon, then you have so much treasure you don't have to roll for a month. So you can simplify it by almost eliminate money from your game completely. But my rule for world building is that I want to build a world that is one or two steps more advanced that the players will ever consider or ask for. So the players, so I don't break the illusion. Players that play my game, I want them to feel like there is more world than they ask for constantly, and that way they should not be able to see the Potemkin. They should not see the ugly bits behind the scaffolding, so to speak. It should appear to be a real world. So I want to think one or two steps more than I hope that my players would never think, so to speak, and fill that facts and stuff. That's my kind of golden rule when it comes to world building. And then sometimes I go overboard even from that, but I want to always make sure that I have thought more about the world building aspect than my players have.
So, Len, what are your
The
thoughts?
other aspect of playing with money and economies is, let's say you have a pawnbroker. Well, how does the pawnbroker protect his money?
Yeah.
Because thieves would just love to go in there and rob him, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they're unprincipled thieves, i.e. evil, they just slit his throat, leave him there, and take the coin.
Yeah.
So you've got to have some way of protecting this guy.
Yeah.
And, he might have his professional goon who's a fifth level, not too bright fighter, but they don't want to deal with that guy.
Yeah.
And he's got to be high enough up that he can make life difficult for somebody who wants to come in. But it goes to the principle of what people do nowadays, that when you want to come in and you want to turn in gold or silver or precious metals or gems, they only let two people in the store at a time, and they have a double door system. And you can do that thinking that far ahead, saying, I'm not going to let 7 guys walk into this place.
Right.
We're just asking for it.
Yeah. And
that is one in or 2 in.
Yeah. That's a very, very great question. And the way I see it is that depends on the law of the land, meaning how well organized is it. If you're out in a chaotic, evil place somewhere, meaning if you can't defend it, you don't have it, period. Yeah. Someone will try and steal it from you immediately. If they see the chance that they will be able to steal it, they will steal it, meaning you can only have as much money and wealth as you have the physical violence capability of defending, period, so to speak. If you live in the land of Ayus, you only have as much as you can defend, or if you have the will of Ayus behind you, so to speak. If you have his protection, then you can basically sit there with a treasure chest and knowing, and hardly anyone will steal it, because so it's up to your connections and how much violent capability and power you have yourself or someone above you. But on the other hand, there are areas where law and customs and culture is very strong, meaning that then the city might have very powerful city guard and stuff, but they don't have to go around guarding everyone. So it might be very easy to steal from that moneylender and stuff. But when he cries foul, there will be a whole bunch of them chasing you and checking everybody at the city gates and stuff. And if they find you, then they will pursue you at a distance or for a long time to find it, so to speak. And the whole population will come out on the side of the moneylender and say, oh, there's like 5 newcomers, we've never seen them before, and they will search the whole city. So it's much of a cultural kind of thing. But in my campaign, the ones that have wealth, it's either well protected or the area they're in is well organized and defended, so to speak. Otherwise, there will be no treasure to be found.
It's why you create these patrols that go through, created by the knight or the overlord or whoever.
Yeah.
And you make sure you keep changing up the system so that the thief can't sit there and watch and know that at noon every day the guy shows up and looks at the pawnbroker, and then after he leaves at 12:15, now it's the time to rob the pawnbroker. Yeah. So you can't have that. You have to keep varying that schedule for all those people who are wandering through town and checking on those places that are robbable, like a pawnbroker or, God forbid, a place that sells magic items. Oh, that gets to be a real laugh riot.
Well, I think it's in Greyhawk, for example, it's as simple as this, and that is, let me scan through, and that is, there's a union of money changers and pawnbrokers.
Yeah.
The guild protects them. The guild
Yeah.
works with the mayor, who's part of the thieves guild, and they just don't touch them. It's that
Yeah.
simple because that is taboo,
It's
and
all
that's
part of the racket.
it's all
Yeah.
part, yeah, because you got to have the economy working in the
Yeah.
town, in the city. I think
Yeah.
it's that way in a lot because I rarely see thieves in any of my games go after the pawnbrokers. It just, you don't do it
Well,
because
your players are civilized, so yeah. But Nagoya, Joe had a very good comment in chat saying that the pawn protection money to the thieves guild, and that's
yeah,
the way I see it. Meaning, the thieves guild is basically the tax collectors of the town. So in Greyhawk, when the thieves guild run the city, they simply go out and tell everybody to pay their taxes, their dues to. They're not called taxes; they're called dues to the thieves guild, and so they are basically the tax collectors, and then you get like a seal to put on saying that I paid my dues to the city, and therefore the thieves will they ordered to stay away from you, and so effectively the thieves have become the tax collectors in effectively, so to speak.
well, in Greyhawk they're all dwarves too.
Okay, yeah, see, yeah.
And Carlos goes, "Why does he need that?" So here's the thing. Here's the Greyhawk Free City Greyhawk symbol. What's on it? Coins.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and that's the Priest of Zilch's symbol as well.
Yeah.
So if we scroll down, can anyone tell me, Len guessed this right away, where that picture comes from? This one, I was just curious if anyone would get that right off the bat. What's that?
I
That's
don't know.
yours.
I don't know who drew it.
Yeah, you're not sure who drew that one, but does anyone know where that is?
But when the Church of the Big Gamble is in L1 or L2, I don't remember which of the two, but it's one of them. And of course, they illustrated.
Got it. 4 more minutes for Len.
I had some illustration okay on 4 and 5, but I had none whatsoever on 1, 2, and 3. So on 1, 2, and 3, when it was produced, it's what the artists that they had did, and I had no say in it.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a great way of purloining them of their money. So Len, we got like 3 to 4 minutes before you got to go. What would you like to say on this coinage deal?
Well, I want to go back to the coins like this one.
Oh yeah, talk. Yeah.
And so there's a silver coin that's got 20 on it, and that coin in and of itself is not worth 20 silver pieces. It's worth 20 silver pieces because the country you're in says it's worth 20 silver pieces. So let's say you're in Keelan, a fairly civilized place. You can issue these coins that have a multiple written on the coin, and you take that coin to a tavern, and it's worth 20 silver pieces. So you can give them a small tip, and you get change back. But originally, every coin was a coin unto itself. It was a gold piece, a silver piece, a copper piece, a bronze piece, if you wanted to deal with bronze. Bronze was 1/2 of the copper piece. You didn't have coins you didn't have a quarter that was worth 25 penny. You didn't have the equivalent of that, but you certainly could have that. And when the campaign coins came out, that was a classic concept of the coins had numbers written on them and said, oh my God, I've got this copper piece and it's worth 2 copper pieces, not just 1 copper piece. But the actual metal in the coin is not enough to be worth 2 copper pieces. But if you go to the next country over, they might not give you the same amount of money. That's where your money lender and your money changers. Well, the other classic is, I find a gem, it's worth 100 gold pieces. How do you know that? And when you take that gem and you go into a tavern and put it on the table, what is the tavern keeper going to say to you? I don't know what that damn gem is worth. stick it back in your pocket and hand me the 3 silver pieces you own. You run into that whole thing of the analysis of the various gems and what have you. So I just said throw that to the winds. If I said you've got 5 gems that are worth 10 gold pieces each, you had 5 gems that were worth 10 gold pieces each. And we didn't go through all of this bullshit of saying, I have to take it to somebody and he has to evaluate it and tell you, yeah, it is in fact worth that.
You can get into a real can of worms
It's
playing that
heroic
way.
fantasy. It's not getting bogged down in all this crap.
And that's why a lot of my guys, I let them carry a lot of gems around, so that they're higher value. Some coins, and then they got gems worth 100 gold or whatever, and that makes it a little bit easier.
Well, you also have, when you manufacture an item, whatever it happens to be, you go into the craftsmanship of it, and those things that are very high craftsmanship might eventually become a +1 dagger, but something that's mediocre, the magic just won't take proper, and that's a DM call, of course. But you have to give them some idea of what's the quality of the item, and that's why you have artisan levels, or at least I have artisan levels of 1 through 8 to evaluate the quality of what the artisan knows. And to produce magic items, I say that the artisan has to be at least 6th level as an artisan to produce stuff that can be converted to magic. Because ultimately, that dagger that's worth 1,000 gold pieces, and it's +1, you somehow have to get to that. How do you get to that?
Yeah, true. And that's I think enchanting magic items and craftsmanship like that could be done for another show. We could do a whole show on artisan crafting and what I've done, Bill and myself. But Bill has set
I
up.
need to go.
Len,
Okay.
Thank you very much. See you
Great
Sunday
to
night.
meet you.
We'll
We'll talk about the
We'll talk about the weather in
Halloween contest. The two full moons in the same month.
Absolutely.
We want to talk about that.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'll see if I can write something up about that.
That'd be fantastic.
Awesome.
All right. See you.
Arrivederci.
Right.
I did ask another individual to come on to replace Len, and that person's more than welcome to hop on. Coin, we're getting into an area that some DMs will be like, this is too much, and I agree. But there's also some cool things you can think about, because you need to be able to at least annoy your player characters a little bit with tedious nature. And I want to show a couple things real fast that I found that I've always seen. Greyhawk's written up greatly on this. And the first thing is you got to have a great tax collector, and that's this Glorretti Buchanan. Now he's lawful evil. He's a lawful evil dwarf.
Abathor.
Excuse me?
Abathor.
Yeah, Abathor. The god agreed, which makes it even better. That's very cool. The irony.
The whole GRS, I believe, is dwarves, right? Someone said.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Greyhawk Revenue Service.
Oh yeah, the head of it. Yes, Catano. I was being facetious when I said that. So absolutely, and thanks, Mark, for that. That's pretty funny. That was that's what you did. So coinage, and if you notice, they call them commons, nobles, luckies, orbs, and plate in Greyhawk. And I'm not sure if anyone uses that term.
That's from the Gord books. It's
good. Okay.
Yeah, it's Gary. Yeah, he had a long explanation how much they were worth, because they're different between different. So from the bronze C's, and then
Interesting.
iron bits and electrum and so on. So there's various different. So one is like 10 and then 20 and 5 and all sorts of stuff. So there's like a footnote after in one of the, I think the first book or something, but it actually explains it in detail. And I think that was a Dragon article back in the day that explained the same thing.
So, Amy, I agree 100% with you. Just because he's evil doesn't mean he doesn't accept contracts and all that. He has played a lot of roles in our game where they had to do something or something was taken that needed to be recovered. So, he's no nonsense, and you don't want to cross him, but he honors a contract to the leather. I agree 100% there. Excuse me. So. Another thing. There is a mint in Greyhawk. I don't know how many. I mean, I'm assuming most capitals have mints, which is another thing that no one thinks about.
Well,
So,
there's an interesting thing in the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer. There is what every country's coin, what the
I like
names
that.
of everything. It's awesome. They're called different things in different
Right.
countries, and I simply assume that if they have that name, then they have a mint, so they mint them. They look a bit different. But I think one of the things that I think, at least culturally for me, is that the standard was set by the Great Kingdom. They set a new gold standard, so to speak, meaning coins have this size, this weight, and so on. And that's where you got the terms. And then, so there might be areas like, I think, Scarlet Brotherhood, they might have a different standard because they were never part of the Great Kingdom, and they might do it simply in spite because they want to have it as a marker. So that way they can get, because you can use it as a way to, just like real countries do, so you can detect outsiders and intruders who doesn't have your money, so to speak. So if you go there, you have to either somehow find their coins to use if you want to be there undercover as adventurers, or you have to somehow get in officially so you can actually transfer money into as some sort of license deal or something. So you can make money part of an adventure plot as a way. You have to go through these hoops in order to get the adventure. Instead of having traps or something, you can actually build this into a part of the adventure, meaning you have to find the right money to bribe someone without disclosing your identity and various stuff like that. Or in order for the treasure to be worth something, you want to hide it, the fact that you raided whoever's vault, so to speak, with special money or something. So you can make interesting plot twists. So you can normally 90% of the time you can just ignore it all, but then occasionally it might be an interesting plot twist or a hurdle to overcome for the party to introduce monetary economical issues as at plot twist and campaign points and stuff.
absolutely. It just, like I said, once again, it depends on the level that your players want to go get into the minutia on.
Exactly. Don't bog them down with minutia constantly, but introduce this as interesting new types of hurdles and problems in adventures. So you don't have the regular same obstacles that whatever, but so introduce economical obstacles that have an interesting plot twist that can be solved in various different ways, can be very interesting. And it can also be things that the players don't realize to begin with, but it comes back and haunt them. So they will start looking for these weird coins that the moneylender gave us, or the whoever, or we found the treasure. Afterwards, realize that now we could be traced, and this is not good, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of the players have to have a lookout for it, and if they don't, then it can have implications. So they need to think about it. So they might have to melt them down and then get rid of it some other way or something.
Page
I ran a
2.
whole Sea Princess campaign on finding coins in a mint that was ruined and overtaken by monsters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
That's cool. Where was it?
Hokar.
Okay. What did they do with the coinage?
Well, so the coins were rare. There was only like so many minted. I think it was like 300. And so every time they found one of these coins scattered around in the caves and tunnels and whatever, then they came back out and they knew they could cash that one coin in for whatever the going rate was. from the ruler of Hokar. It was a nice little plot device I used for a while.
It's awesome. So you have, for example, a way that a city or another government will make money is obvious with the coinage here, and it says right here on this page too, coin is such Verluna Fiorendi earns is accepted, but they'll also direct people to the guild of money changers and pawnbrokers, and the fee's going to be, and it says it further on down there, between 5-10%. That's money right off the top. Yeah, but it says taxes are fairly low, which is really funny when you think about it, because of all the other things going on, all the fees, and so here are some of the taxes that exist in Greyhawk. And if you want to talk about some that are used in other areas, that's great. I love this one. This is one of my favorites, the free sword tax. So if you're venturing in Greyhawk, you come in the city, you got to pay this right off the bat if you want to give a license to go on adventures. So every single character in my Greyhawk campaign is paid this free sword tax right off the bat of 3 gold. So you have to pay that. So that's one.
I did a Greyhawkery article on taxes and things like that as well. A lot of stuff in Marklands.
Oh, I can imagine. Is that mostly Fiorendi? Was that in that discussion?
Fiorendi, Nyrond. That has stuff on.
I already took it off.
That you're bringing up.
I took it off, Casey. I take them off. You guys don't even realize it. So I take them off. So Canadian. Oh, see now, I want to point this out. Canadian is wonderful and one of our 2 tier 2 subs. So thank you very much, Canadian. That is awesome, and thank you for the resub. Yep, really appreciate it. So that's one of them. We'll go through these. The ship tax. Any vessel berthing in Greyhawk, sum between 3 and silver and 5 gold per day or part thereof. I love this one. The cargo tax. Imported cargo being traded in Greyhawk. Never as much as 1%, since so much cargo is traded within the city, but that can really add up. So if you're berthing and you're going from the near Deve in and you're going on your way out to Harby, you don't necessarily want to stop in Greyhawk and berth there, right? So that's a good one too. As far as I mentioned something like the following: mean locks keep their treasure in small satchel. So according to ancient soulmen sold that, that's a great point too, Carlos, is that you could take base coins and create them a rare value to them, a collector's antiquity value, another really cool thing that can be done. So that is a neat idea. This one's the big one, and my guys, some of my players try to get around this, and I say you're stupid if you do. The precious metals tax. When you get, especially if you're coming from Castle Greyhawk or somewhere else.
Exactly.
Precious metals arriving from elsewhere taxed at 1% for any trade transaction within the city. The sole exception is fine platinum of Ernst. So when you are taking treasure from other places, you bring it in and you utilize it, you're going to get hit with that tax. So, it's something you got to be aware of.
Bags of holding, portable hold.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So another way.
I had some friends who actually tried coming in from Castle Greyhawk. They actually tried to take the hide of a creature, pile all the treasure on the hide. They tied it up into a huge bag, and then they said they wanted to cast reduce on the bag. I'm like, I didn't let them do that. I thought that was a little cheesy.
Yeah, think of like if 10,000 gold pieces you've gotten in an adventure and you brought it into the city. That's 100 right off the bat, right there. All right, guild taxes.
That could mean a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of money. We haven't even gotten to fees. These are just the tax. Welcome to D&D. Yes. So here, guild taxes. The sum varies depending on what guild membership. Not generally laborers, but
Guild of Wizardry is 100 gold pieces a year.
That's a fee, though, and then there's a tax associated with that. Yeah, okay. The sum varies from 5 silver pieces to the lowest artisans, or 5 gold for lawyers and scribes. That's a guild tax on the top of, and there's also other special taxes. So this is the way they suck your money out. And think about, so I don't know if it's written up.
My favorite part.
Yeah, if you have a lot. This is where other cities are not as detailed as Greyhawk. I don't think that anyone's written this up as well. I could be wrong, but like I don't think this is written up for Gradsel or Safeton or Narwhal. There's none of that there.
You can extrapolate.
Yeah, but you can probably do
Yeah.
local variations on the same theme, because I guess all the cities had to finance themselves somehow.
Yeah.
So they use basically the same idea, meaning you have to tax the ones that have something, and that means that people that come through the gates are perfect,
Yeah,
because you don't
Tim.
want to tax the own population, but you don't want to tax them too much. So tax rates tend to be, I think, fairly similar within an area that actually people travel with between, meaning if you have Divers and Greyhawk, and the same people can go and sell and buy things from one to the other, then I don't think you have that huge difference in tax rates. Just look at the real world. Tax rates are fairly similar in various parts of the world, but you have various large differences between rich and poor, and between if you go from one end to the world, is a huge difference. But within the same areas that have the same wealth level, you almost have roughly the same taxation levels.
Well,
That makes economic sense.
Markland's here.
Yeah.
They have the tax multiplier thing for
yeah.
every county in the
Yeah.
county. So the Viscounty and the March has a tax multiplier 1.2.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then other counties it might be
Closer to the
than that.
border, it's higher,
Yeah,
isn't it? Closer to the racing
Yeah,
line.
so
Yeah.
everything
But you
goes
can
up.
also you can also think that, say that people that travel a lot, you couldn't, and you want merchants to come and stuff, so you tax them fairly similar. But the people that can't travel, like poor peasants and these people that are more or less serfs, they are taxed at exorbitant rates because they have no option. So you tax them into oblivion, so to speak. And that's another medieval thing, meaning you tax as much as you can get away with. And rich people, they can just move their assets somewhere else and have power. You don't tax them as much. And then you tax the poor bastard who can't who can't defend himself and can't go anywhere. You tax him very heavily compared to how much he has. And that's also good and evil, meaning you can kind of get the sense there, and that could also be an adventure thing, meaning priest of Tritherian, could they be going after excessive evil tax collectors that go out and basically take the food from people, and is that a thing? So you can, there's a lot of, and also taxes are not always money. Like in medieval times, taxes, most farmers and stuff, they pay taxes in what they grew, the harvest.
In a feudal system,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't affect the adventure as much, because they have coinage and go from area to area. But it might affect them if they get up the food chain and get themselves a castle, or become a lord somewhere or something. They don't get a lot of money. They just get grains and horses and sheep and chicken and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, so Nagorjo, A D&D Castle Guide is a good source too, absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's to my players, and I got a lot of complaining about this.
Okay.
I did not want to go into this. I did not want to go into this minutia in Altamira. So I was like, I have a solution, and man, did they complain! I just made the property super expensive. If you wanted to buy a plot of land,
tax that, yeah.
If you want to buy a plot of land, get out 10,000 gold pieces. Sorry, you know what I mean. If you want the privilege of living in the posh district, you're gonna pay an arm and a leg. Boy, did I hear that from Bill and the other Bill and Tim. Not much Tim. Tim was Mark and Walt. Walt never complained because he had hundreds of thousands of gold all the time. So sales tax, that was the way I handled it. Then I didn't have to worry about it from future. I didn't want to go taxing them to death. But not you. You're correct. It was not you, Tim, because we were off in the military, all over the world at that time.
That's an interesting thing, is that if you buy land, all of a sudden you are a member of the society. You're not an outside adventurer that move in and out of a city or a country or something. You put down roots, you buy property. And one of the things is that they might ask for taxes, but also what I would put is that I would demand that whoever purchase the land will sign a declaration of faith and allegiance, meaning follow the law, and also of loyalty. You have to be ready to fight for the baron or the king or whoever the mayor or whoever you buy the land from. So not only paid, meaning if the Lord wants you and needs you and asks for you, you have to show up and
Yeah.
be ready to fight to the death for on his or her behalf. So in a lot of areas that might be a demand they ask for, rather than a lot of excessive money. They will simply say that, and that might even be a gift in disguise. They might say that, oh, we can give you this land.
Well,
And then it comes with the actual fact that you have to fight for them.
I'll
So,
give Tim his due, the ever mysterious Tim his due on this.
yeah.
He's very good at luring you in with the city state campaign, the overlord giving away
Yep.
stuff, and then you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do
Yep.
this, go kill this person for me, and
Yep.
all that
Yep.
stuff. So
Yep.
Tim has really perfected that, and I'm going to
Yeah,
give him credit there.
You can turn things into something,
Yeah.
but you should not do it all the time as a GM. But you should do
Right.
it occasionally to twist plots and stuff, and sometimes so you should always make sure not have too many habits, meaning turn things upside down. And also in some areas everything is open and honest and trustworthy and whatever, and in some areas it's just devious. And if you get something there, then you're screwed, so to speak.
So another way, Mike, did you want to comment on any of that on taxes?
No, that was
That was good.
Yeah.
Another way that the Greyhawk collects money is minor crimes. Now, I have this notation up here, and it goes fines which typically extract 1 to 20% of a person's monies, up to a maximum fine of 1,000 gold. So, and those minor crimes, imagine 1,000 gold fine, and here they are: assault minor, blasphemy against a priest, all the way down. There's drunken. Dangerous conveyance of a vehicle in a public place you get fined up to 1,000 gold. Imagine that. Offenses against public property. I love how slavery is only a minor crime in here. So yeah, it's in the minor crime list. Tax evasion. So if you do a tax evasion of 50 gold or less, you may lose 1,000 gold there. So this is another interesting way for them to collect money as well. So
that City of Greyhawk box set is the best.
It is. That's why. Yeah.
Well, no, I was going to say all the games I've ever played outside the City of Greyhawk, the farther you go away from that city, the less economic the discussion gets. And then if you're in the middle of that city, it's on. I'm taking your money.
That's why on Sunday night, when the question arose, what's your favorite most go-to reference? This is mine because of all this data, in it. And then the next one, here's for serious crimes. Look at the bottom of this. Enormous fine is 90 to 95% of your wealth. High is 60 to 80, and a standard crime, which is a serious crime, we're talking 25 to 40%. And if the minimum is not available, then you go to prison. So, yeah.
But that's always interesting, meaning most campaigns, meaning that's okay when you have first and third level adventures, maybe. But what happens when you have 10th or 12th level adventures? They might be the most powerful people within 200 miles radius. And I don't think if there's a whole bunch of really tough adventurers that slaying a dragon, they can do whatever they want. A small town will not have the ability to threaten them with almost anything. And the same thing with crimes in general is that if you're powerful enough, then you're above the law. Basically, the law is only as effective as it can deal with it. You're either good-hearted, so you pay your fines from a good of a heart, which probably means that you probably didn't commit the crime in the first place. Meaning, if you have a law and you enforce fines and put people in prison, that means that whoever has the authority needs to have enough power to actually jail and take the money from threaten the people that they rule over, so to speak, which the rules doesn't really apply for, because you have a lot of things like, you have third level city guards and stuff, meaning if you have a lot of 5th, 7th, 8th level NPCs and stuff living in the city, they wouldn't pay taxes. They would just tell a city guard to go Put yourself somewhere else.
I don't know, and you, Mike, and I may disagree on this, but like for in Greyhawk or in like
Yeah, meaning what my point is that cities will have powerful enough enforcement that they can actually literally put people in prison or alleviate them off the funds, so to speak, if they commit crimes.
I think in that same tax code, the serious crimes, one of the other punishments other than money is banishment.
yeah.
And that's what I did to one of my friends, high level, good fighter. Didn't pay the fines. Was railroaded into a crime that he did not commit. That was part of the plot. He took the banishment.
Mm-hmm.
Loss of title and banishment.
Yeah.
Rather than the money.
Yep.
And then he was out of the campaign then, wasn't he? If everyone else was still in Greyhawk? Oh, no.
Then he went off and did other things.
Okay.
Just had a chip on his shoulder for the rest of the time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's I've had a group of adventurers. One of Alan's characters, to this day, he got banished for life from Hardby. And to this day, he wants to burn Hardby to the ground, which is part of a good long-term plot. But you do the wrong thing, and that's what happens. So
you could get a whole campaign can be sidetracked for 15 sessions because the players screw up doing something that then they get slapped with a fine and they refuse to pay it, and then you get into all sorts of things, and then one character get hauled into prison, and they kind of, I had a group of players that leveled up big enough and then went back and simply took him out of prison and using whatever force necessary, and it was a great adventure. We had a lot of fun with that. So they leveled up 3 levels and came back and got him out of prison and killed everyone because they felt like they'd been snubbed, so they took revenge on that town, and it was a lot of fun. That was one of the highlights of that campaign.
So my friends were accused of many crimes in the city of Greyhawk just because I love that book.
Yeah.
But the 2 crimes that they actually were committing that I never charged them for was tomb robbing and tax evasion, because they love to circumvent that precious tax thing.
So they went in the Lord's tomb and just were robbing the tombs down there?
No, it was the lower tomb.
Oh,
okay. No one cares about poor people's
no one cares about that.
corpses and stuff down there. Yeah. They might actually like to be alleviated of things that can be turned into zombies and skeletons and stuff.
So Extort brings up a point, and I'm gonna tell you what happens in my game. So do murder hobos really establish residency, any place to be collected on legally? No. But then they are the ones that tend to have their pictures in the Altamira Bounty Hunters Guild or the Divers Assassins Guild or other places with wanted for their heads. So that tends to be resolve that issue.
Yeah, but you can, if you have a bunch, if your players turn their characters into murder hoboing and start killing off half the neighborhood and stuff, you can actually, meaning some towns and stuff can see that's an asset, saying that, oh, we can pay you, can you murder on our behalf and get rid of all the riffraff that is coming into our town, so they can actually, that could be, they can turn it into a business idea.
An assassins guild.
Yeah, meaning.
So you're honing in on their action.
Yeah, take alignment out of it and be rational, so to speak, from a weird
Deadwood.
way. Yeah.
Welcome to the BK. Casey
exactly.
says. One of the final things in Greyhawk, the People's Constables are the annoying finers, so they there's 200 of them. They have to pay a license of 10 gold pieces a year, and they need to get that back. And here's some of the, I snipped this because it's always funny. Here's some of the bizarre fine you can get fined for: fondling a duck or related waterfowl on the processional, carrying it but Zaga preferred fondling, helping a halfling cross the road. This can be construed as occurring whenever really accompanies a halfling. Conspiring to belch in the direction of a described sage rather than gentleman. You get the idea. So if you are a foreign, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say they're taxes in disguise is what that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just petty
thievery too. It's just a way to steal stuff. So guilds are a way to protect money and to protect economy. And
Yeah.
I think that the Greyhawk box set does a great job in discussing a lot of these unions. I put three down: the Merchants and Traders Union, which is really important, so that the economy doesn't fall in upon itself, and we have chaos.
They
Uh,
usually have a few members on the oligarchy.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's a way to ritualize and institutionalize conflict. So instead of just fighting using little thugs in the back streets, that then you elevate it up and you organize, and that way you hire thugs collectively, and then you, instead of just killing each other at night and or afternoons or whenever, then you actually level it all the way up to city council, and it's a way to fight bureaucratically than rather than only by sword and dagger in the back alleys. So but sometimes even unions and stuff will get it, like in the Gord books is a perfect between the Thieves Guild and the Beggars Union. They start having a fight between each other over the same turf, who's supposed to to be able to beg and steal from pickpocket on the streets, so to speak,
Yeah.
and who's going to rule over it. So there's another interesting adventure hooks you can have. You can be, all of a sudden you can be uh, tasked to aid a union, or a union will come to the adventurers to say that we are now under threat for this or that reason, or we need to, using diplomacy or skullduggery or whatever methods, you have to defend and represent the union interest for some, and in court or in on the streets or whatever, or during negotiations and stuff. I had an adventure a long time ago when there was actually negotiations between two parties and stuff, and the characters were there to make sure that the right amount of money was handed over and not handed over, and no one was murdered and stuff like that. And they had to negotiate with the other side, and there was like, and if something went haywire, then they were supposed to deal with it. So you can, there is a lot of adventure hooks and plots that can involve money and economy one way or the other, because it's power and it's treasure and stuff, and unions are big power brokers in cities and towns and stuff. So especially big cities. So that means that they have the incentive and the resources to hire adventurers to do all sorts of either open legal stuff or less legal, less open stuff.
Is the Now I'm going to talk some Backlunish on you. Is the
Yeah.
Mukwalad Consortium a guild, or is this a group of guilds?
I think it's more kind
I
of
don't really know.
sort of company, kind of almost like the East India Company or something. They span the whole range from being a government agency or military to being business or whatever. It's a whole collective of interest that is projected in one in one kind of direction, so to speak.
It's like the Templars, man. It was a political
Yeah.
organization, and then they were
Yeah.
doing their own,
Yeah.
banking too, right?
Yeah.
So,
hmm
and with trading. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
that's the other interesting thing. What is there for banking in the world of Greyhawk? Do we have any, like the
Yeah.
Iron Man?
I got that up right now. The Mint Workers Guild here.
Okay,
So,
yeah,
this one I found interesting when I read into this is that this one is done by Hereditary because it's so secretive. So and
yeah.
it says in here, under no circumstances will the guild accept dwarves. I guess they just don't want the Gloretti
Yeah.
putting spies in there. So I found that very interesting. But there is a mint in Greyhawk, and I guess if you really wanted to do something, it is in Clarksburg. Absolutely,
Yeah,
that mint is in the
yeah,
box set.
Southern Skies AU has a good point. To be a guild traditionally requires a royal warrant or similar from the government. Yeah, that's very true. Guilds were officially recognized organization that needed a charter.
That's why
or
I'm saying
yeah,
like the Mukwalad Consortium is religious. It's the god Mokwal, the
yeah,
trade god, is so it's like, yeah, they're bigger than
yeah.
normal one city guild.
Yeah. And also that's the other interesting thing I see in a fantasy world is that there is not much difference between a kind of an economical like a company or something, or a religious organization. I take the Church of Celsius. I take them as acting as a merchant house and what we will call a company back in the day, more like the East India Company or something, meaning they organize trade, facilitate business and stuff, and they in a way work in many dimensions and run by priests and stuff. So it's I see them as more of a commercial organization run by priests for religious reasons, but not so that.
Speaking of priests,
Yeah.
that's another good way of getting rid of players' money.
Yeah.
Tithes.
Ties, especially.
Yes.
That's a good one,
Temples
Mike.
need money to operate, so they want that money. Yep.
A good paladin always ties a knight. A lot of tithes is a good thing. Monks almost give all their money. Oh, I said the Skagif curse word.
Yeah.
But I think he's still streaming, so he didn't hear it. So, yeah, tithing is a big thing. I would think. I don't know if I'm going out on a limb here that more good deities should have tithing of their adventurers beyond paladins. I think it should, but a lot of my characters will give away stuff, especially magic items they don't need anymore. They tithe them to the church.
Yeah. I see it as you pay for the church services, because most religions are only there if they provide a service that is useful for a large part of the population, or rulers, or someone needs to benefit from there being a temple and priest and stuff. The exception are like evil cult of Nerul and Incubulus and stuff, but they fill a different purpose. And they basically live by stealing rather than tithes, I think. So yeah,
definitely. Tithing is a big one. We didn't even talk in Greyhawk about, and Mike brought it up. There are a lot of union membership fees, and the Guild of Wizardry is 100 gold to get in. That is steep. So when my first level characters, when we start a new group in there, they can't join the guild to get extra spells or whatever right off the bat because they don't have 100 gold pieces. The free sword permit's 3 gold, so they normally can afford that, but they can't afford the Guild of Wizardry or any of the other guilds there. So,
and then I guess when you become rich and famous, and you're as a wizard, you're able to easily pay the 100 in gold. Then I would get that a wizardry guild. You either pay a hefty fee per year that is based on your experience, meaning that the higher spells and stuff you can use, the bigger the fee.
Is
exactly
cheaper
the perk,
spell access.
But there is a way around it. So instead of paying a hefty fee, you simply volunteer work at the guild. So you spend days the days at the guild and write scrolls and teach younger new members more advanced magic and stuff, and that way you get access to it without paying a lot, but you either pay your way or you work your way for the guild, so to speak. That's the way I see it, a way around it, so to speak.
We have a lot of characters that do that, and if you've been following Iron Fury, which I ran a couple weeks ago, Alan's got a crazy, she's a necromancer thief, or is that what she is, Bill? And Tim and Walt and Tom, if you're on, who's in love with, crazily infatuated with Bill's character, Salen, and she works for the Gravediggers and Embalmers Guild on the side. Yes.
Well, you have to have
thanks.
a second job when you need to make money.
There you go. Yeah, Bill says yes. That's it. So, and then Walt's character in Narwhal, she's a barmaid at the Sundered Spear. So, yes, you get a lot of, and that's a good way to get
Have you ever had a character, one of your players' characters, go to one of the colleges in the city of Greyhawk?
Yes. Okay. Here's a story. So
tuition fees on that are fun too.
They are, and it's a great idea. And I'm going to give away a J campaign trade secret here. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? For your old schoolers, here's the deal. In Clarksburg is the legendary Bard School. Okay. What benefit does it give you? If you're a first edition Bard going fighter, thief, then Bard, doesn't say. Here's what I do. If you successfully graduate from the Bard School, and you can go while you're adventuring, whatever, as you're going up in levels. Bards don't get experience bonus in 1E, 2E. I give them, if they get a 10% bonus for graduating from the Bard School.
Nice.
There you go. So that is one benefit, and the answer is yes. We've had people attending the colleges. There's no college of wizardry or great college mentioned in Harby in any of the cities that I found. So I kind of created, it's a lesser one, created one there, and the benefit to those is spell research. They get bonus spells when they go up in levels to know. To research and find on. That's our benefit there. Sounds like School of Rock. Yes. But it's there. I mean, the Bard School is actually in here in Clarksburg. So, and it says it's legendary, it's famed. So why not utilize it, right? Or you could do an increase to their charm percentage or their legend lore if you wanted, right? You could do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was just my solution to it. Yep. So as one, great question, Mike. And the answer is yes. I love the box set so much that we utilize as much as we could in there. So kind of think Pete and John went to the Elsa Goodnow School of Business. Yeah. So here's another thing, trade. We really didn't discuss it that much because you can really get into the weeds on this.
Yeah.
Businesses. So Tim's dad, John, has Pete and John's Teamster service. It's 2 PCs that are kind of semi-retired because, and they go off and they have they cart stuff all over the Flanders. Anywhere we'll travel, I do not let the characters get, it's a net zero income for the most part. I don't want to get into that. Oh, you made this much this month, that much, it's just too much, right? It's kind of a cool thing to have, and if something special happened in the game, that's different, but I kind of keep it at net zero. I do that with most businesses that they set up. Too much to keep track of. With 2,000 characters, I can't be doing it. So, there you go. They are your characters. You're right, Tim.
Trade is a very interesting topic, and it's kind of a subset of economy because you have the world building thing where different countries trade different and different food items or whatever goods between each other. But it's also something that can give a lot of incentive for adventurers, meaning you can guard and protect caravans, and you can kind of speculate on trade and stuff as a sort of gamble, more like gambling on the stock market and stuff. So if you want to invest money and you don't want to roll dice in the little tavern and you want to do it high style, you join the merchant guild, and then you can simply say, well, I want to invest in whatever trade adventure and then see if you get the money back in way more money. So trade can fill campaign ideas, and you can have things that get lost, meaning a trade caravan was supposed to go there and then come back again after 4 months, and they haven't come back again, so you have to go out and find them and see what happens. So
tried the trade investment thing before with companies and had limited success on that because it was just too big for my brain, maybe.
So Canadian,
but I have
but
I have had fun with players trying to run mining operations.
Oh, okay, that's a cool.
Oh man.
Yeah,
there's just some good rules on that in D&D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so trade is something that can be an interesting added dimension to your games in various ends of the spectrum, so to speak, too. But we had ancient Canadian Ancient Gamer had banks. Yeah, that's an interesting. Do any of you use banks?
Not as much as we should. They're there.
Like deposits, the adventurers can say, I have so many gold pieces, I want to deposit them here and then come back and get them later, or what?
It's one of those assumed things that we do.
Yeah.
I don't go into the detail of it, but yeah, it's an assumed thing that we have.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't have them having like the Templars have. You get here and you get a note script and you take it to another city for travel purposes. We haven't gotten into that yet, but yeah. So the last thing you want to do is go off an adventure and find all your stuff stolen at home, right?
Yeah.
It's a kind of, and then you're like, well, why am I even doing this? And then you get the frustration end of it. So, but that's just, Dungeon Survival Guide.
Asher was asking.
So, Mike, have you used banks or banking or something in your games?
Yeah, I can't really pin down if it's like the Money Changers Guild or who I had operating that, but not a whole lot. And then when I got more into these more planescapey planar stuff, then I would have my
Yeah.
highfalutin Harry Potterish Gringotts type banks. But just on the local level, no, not so much.
It's one of those. We assume some things that maybe we shouldn't, but
Well, it's how much world building you want to do. If your players don't ask for it or not even close to
true.
it, then it's a waste of effort to spend energy on detailing it. But if the players, if you want it to be part of a plot, then then I think that the institution needs to make sense. But and a lot of these things can be part of campaign plots and stuff, and then they can make a lot of sense. So if you want to have, if trade is supposed to, if the players characters are supposed to go out and find a lost trade caravan, or if they're going to guard one, then it could be a good idea to have at least an idea of how trade works in that area, so you know what the purpose of the thing is, and who are the merchants, and how is it organized, or what
For
how
some
much
reason,
treasure
I
do they
want to
have.
say trade is heavily like Gygax wanted us to think about trade because he put that trade map
Exactly, the trade is
in the
built
guide.
into
Yeah.
the various world books and
Yeah.
gazetteers. Yes, it's
and
yeah.
gems, that had a practical application. The
Yep.
pricing of gems.
Yep.
I never really saw where it translated on furs and other things. I think there were good Dragon magazine articles that covered
Yeah.
those kind of
And
goods.
yeah. And I also
Uh,
think it's a part of the leftover from when it was a war game back in the day, because then they had military units and stuff that needed to be supported and supplied and all that. So I think it
who has
tied
the
into,
food?
yeah. So I think it tied into part of the legacy of D&D as a war game, so to
I would
speak.
love if someone would do a more updated version of that because, like, I want to know who makes weapons,
Yeah.
who makes armor,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Maybe
Yeah.
break it down
I
a
can
little finer.
yeah, I can really recommend Ultimate Campaign from Pathfinder. It's
I
a
think I
great
have
book
that.
that, yeah, is it has an awesome book that has a lot of kingdom building rules that takes a lot of this into account, and you can
My
actually
favorite kingdom building rules is still
yeah, yeah,
companion
that
rules
was
Really?
bare
good.
bones
Yeah.
basic.
Yeah, and it's a more modern version that you can run, but
Yeah.
it's tied to Pathfinder loosely, but you can kind of change a few things. But then you
Yeah.
get each kingdom or city or whatever barony or something gets a character sheet where you can have rounds like once a week or once a
Birthright.
month. Yeah. So it's like a birthright adventure. So you can actually run the areas where the adventuring is up. You can run their economy, and every week you roll and see if there's any wars or famines or flooding or something going on, and then you can run it as a level above the players, so to speak. And the players can play part of it because they might be the functionary and have a job in a city. They might be the head of the guard or the thieves guild or the assassins guild, or there might be a baron or something. So it depends. But in the beginning, low level adventures, then yeah, it's a non-issue, I think.
Get Eric Mona in here.
So
Yeah.
here's a question on this
Yeah.
realm. Have you? I'll start it off with this. Have you had an issue with too much money in your campaigns at any point?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
All
I
right.
had Monty Hall period. I
I
think
just had to get more
every
creative.
DM, yeah, has a Monty Hall period
I
when
want to
he
get my biggest Monty Hall one out of the way, Jay.
Go for it.
So we completed Greyhawk Ruins, my friends.
Oh my gosh.
And after all the money and treasure and magic items they got out of that, they rebuilt the ruined towers. And once it was played out, they claimed the land, rebuilt the towers, total using the castle guide thing.
Oh yeah.
Finished price 1 million gold pieces.
Wow, and there was $1 million gold in. There's $1 million gold in the
to build it.
But there's that much money in the Greyhawk Ruins adventure
Maybe.
second edition.
I
Oh
can't
my
remember,
gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
so
Yeah,
that
we've
was
all had
most
Monty Hall.
ridiculous.
That's kind of funny though. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's one of these periods we have to yeah. We've had murder holding parties, and we've had Monty Hall periods, and all sorts of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, you have that occasionally, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we've all had crazy stuff. I think that Wales Castle, the main keep for the Order of Ulick, I think I estimated it cost 750,000 gold, but that was the entire keep. And of course, it was on small. You had to fit the whole hex paper, right? Those were the days you used every bit of it, and very small and all. So, but I got to find that map somewhere, and it's all
Yeah.
square and all. And it's just, but those are the days
The
back in there.
third edition Epic handbook is what broke me in that rule system. When you got up into the above 20th level characters, 30th level characters,
Yeah.
they could just about knock over anything in one round,
Yep.
So you had to keep coming up with bigger and better things. So one of the creatures from back then was like the Mithril Golem or something like that.
Yeah.
And they kill
So
Mithril
when you
Golem,
killed one
then
of
they're like,
them,
"Oh, we
you
got
got
Mithril now." They get
yeah.
no,
Mhm.
the game just got so ridiculous.
We did put mithril
Yeah.
pieces and adamantite pieces in. Mithril's 20 gold each, one mithril piece, and an adamantite piece is 50 gold each. Another way to be able to carry coin like gems.
Yeah.
But then again, how are you going to spend that? So
I also put
Cha-ching.
these really valuable coins on top, but that is something that is not used regularly, so to speak. It's something that they use in order to bribe us city officials and
Bribes,
really
Those are
high
good money.
things. Yeah.
I think Altamir took 7 years to build the wall around it, and Katie, in actual, not in real and game time, 7 years. It was a year for year back then. So yeah, I
Nice.
think things take time. Yeah, absolutely. So all right, getting on that.
Yeah.
Did you charge? Did you both charge for training, for level ups?
No, I
Every
normally don't do that. Normally
Every
not.
time I would try to implement it, it wouldn't only last one level, and then we
Forgot
forgot
about
about it or gave
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I normally only require training if they're going to learn a new thing, like they're going to learn a new
Yeah.
feat. Meaning, I want
New
to learn
spell.
meaning my character want to learn composite longbows, and it doesn't know any of that. So or some exotic weapon that requires a special feat or something. Then I might require. But normally, most times it's used by they know an NPC or someone out there in the field that knows it. And so I usually learn that way, and then they can simply pay them somehow by services rendered or something. But sometimes yes, but normally most things for wizards and stuff, I say I want to learn that spell, and instead
would
of
rather
playing me
they-
research, sorry.
The training costs, while makes sense, I would rather my players use their hard-earned gold on stuff like Dan is saying, or for building a castle.
Yeah, I don't use training money arbitrarily, like say, oh, now you need to learn that, so just write off 1,000 gold and you get it. No, I want to role play it. It needs to be part of the campaign. The player wants to learn something that no one here knows, and they either have to figure it out
That's
by
one of the things I
themselves,
like
or they
about
go and find someone who knows it. So it's more of the role playing aspect than
Have
the
you ever
actual
played the
money.
Cthulhu role-playing game,
Nope.
Anna?
No.
I don't remember which edition.
Oh yeah, way back in first edition.
You
a
have
few
to
times,
use the skill. You have to succeed at the skill to get better at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like that.
Yeah, that's what I usually do too. And players have to normally tell me what they're aiming to learn, so to speak, what they're working towards, and then we can kind of work it into the adventure. So they have to, meaning I want to learn to use, I want to learn the spell, meaning the wizard either have to see someone cast it that gives them a plus to figuring it out. If they just heard about it and never seen it being cast, but if they can see another spellcaster cast the spell and they can do a spellcraft check or knowledge arcana, then they get a big plus on doing it because they kind of figured it out, and then they can obtain a scroll with it on. They can kind of reverse engineer the scroll with less, but if they had to figure it out by themselves, it will take weeks maybe or something to do it. So they have to kind of work on it, and then they tell me I want to learn this, and then we can work it into the adventure, and sometimes money is involved, but not all the time. So I like to role play things like that rather than just say it costs that and deduct it from the character sheet.
So many ways of taking the money though.
Yes. So what were you gonna? You said you were gonna say something, Mike. Did you?
No. I'm just saying there's so many other better ways than.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to go up a level? Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't appreciate. I can see in some instances. it just depends on the DM and the situation in the game.
Yeah.
Now, I like specialized training, and I'll give you an example in my game, the
Okay.
duelist school, right? I have one
All
in
right.
every. By the rules, if you want to get a special +1 with a weapon that's not a specialized weapon, or you can do that. It's 200. The average, I believe, is 250 gold a month, and you can. This takes you out of the game too, for the most part. 6 months straight, and then you have a 60% chance of getting that in one from the duelist training, and that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I've done
time and
stuff
money.
like that in
Yeah.
Sea Princess, my Sea Princess
Mhm.
campaign. I've done stuff like that. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
You get all.
specialized.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
It depends on the DM's aesthetic and the game texture.
And if you are out of the campaign for that amount of
Yeah.
time, it's worth
Well,
it.
yeah, it's like learning something exotic or getting a new feat when you or some special ability. You want to multi-class into something. You need to find someone who can train you a bit, and sometimes it might be enough if you have a fight when you fight against someone who's using a special weapon or something like that. That might be enough to get you started on it, so to speak, because that's real experience. Meaning, I saw that enemy; he was damn good at doing this, and I want to learn that too.
Yeah.
And
And the
I
good.
like how we got off on the training tangent. Tim mentioned the Warhammer training mechanics. I'm really trying to remember now, because that's the game where like you start off a rat catcher and then you got to move up into another career. And
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I had what is the guy who sits on carriages with a gun, the big blunderbuss? What the heck, coachman? I had a coachman who became an outlaw chief or whatever, and that was a good combination
Yeah.
when we played Warhammer
And it
Fantasy
totally
Role.
influenced what your stat line
Yeah,
trajectory is. Yeah,
that was Tim played a little DM'd a little bit of that Warhammer Fantasy Role play. So buying a chance to earn a proficiency fee, yeah. So and that's the thing with as a DM, you can coachman, ally, chief. Yeah, I was right. There you go. You can do a lot as a DM to assist the character in their character development outside of just adventuring in cities and colleges, guilds of wizardry. We just said trainers. Doing other professions and doing a little side thing. That's called the downtime adventuring, right? We all have that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a good thing. And you could do that in the course of actual role play. Now, I don't do a lot of downtime adventuring on my stream because who wants, it's little.
Exactly. That's for streaming games, and also you might in some games campaigns are more like a series of connected one shots.
Yeah.
So you might just discuss that in between sessions, and in some ways some downtime is interesting to play out during a session. Some downtime I think is much better to just handle in between game sessions and not doing it during the session, because then you can have more of it. So yeah, you just hook up and chat for 10 minutes and or 5 minutes, or even do it just chatting text based, and you can kind of get a week done or something.
Do any of you give professions? Do any of you give professions to the PCs prior to the class they choose? No, because usually I let it develop in the course of their character development, right? That's I said development twice. So,
But wasn't that how? Yeah, you say it's been a long time for me, but isn't that how you would get initial proficiencies?
Well,
leatherworking.
Those are non-weapon proficiencies, which is a whole different story, right? Than a weapon proficiency.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, that was in first and second edition. Well, first edition didn't even have it.
Well, it did in the Dungeoneers and the Wilderness Survival Guides brought it in.
That got it.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of that. Tim is more. I kind of like if they want to do something, they can develop it. I have no problem with it. Now we have that Maester class, which there's content and rules for it, and that's a little different. But
so you don't use that type of skill generally in.
Yeah, for fun. I allow it for fun. Like so, if someone wants to go off and they want to learn to become a musician as a side gig, or who knows, they want to become a good cook, or they want that's fine. But as far as the hardcore stuff, I don't want I don't want everyone to be an alchemist. That's why one of the reasons why we brought this sub maester class in. I'm gonna have to go over that again on another stream on how it works. Usually there's one alchemist if there's a maester in the group. There's one an armor or whatever, really specialized ability.
Yeah.
So yeah, they cook or
Yeah.
sing before they venture. Yes. So
Yeah,
that's another good way to get rid of money.
Oh yeah, and I've used it since 3.5, and Pathfinder you have all the skills and stuff that so you can learn all sorts of stuff. It's kind of built into the game. So, and you also use a lot of that both for earning money on the side if you want, and to have, meaning other work, downtime work, but also you use it in combat and stuff to identify monsters, to figure out how battlements work, and to be able to open a door, or to tear down whatever, to break into buildings and do all sorts of stuff during adventuring too. So it's the skill system, I think, is really important in order to flesh out characters, especially things like fighters and stuff that don't have that much extras. To have various skills and stuff that the characters are good at is a great way of giving more depth and flavor to a campaign.
See, that's a cool thing, Southerns guys. Knowing the family trade, there's nothing wrong with having character development.
There you excel, Jay, in your campaign. You've done, gone leaps and bounds in that way. That is amazing.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it. I mean, absolutely have background and have traditions and have family trees, and that really helps with that too. So there's all sorts of yes, your 18th level thief gardens and helps out the nice young kids. Yes, that's Leuven the Late Fingered, if anyone wants to know. And he's always a level ahead of Samwise Alan's thief by one level, whether he leveled up or not, so I can drive Alan crazy. Yes, and it does. So, but family trade often more than not would be farming. Not necessarily, right, Mike? If you're coming for Greyhawk, you're coming for divers. It just depends on background. There's a lot of places that wouldn't be necessarily farming. And remember, sailing's a good one fourth. Absolutely. We're talking about once again, it is a medieval-based fantasy setting, but it's still a fantasy setting, right? So
the economy is nothing compared.
No, it's not at all. It's not, and that's something you got to.
When magic is part of the equation, then it throws off the price of everything.
It does, and so I'm going to really go on a touchy subject here.
Yeah.
How much does everyone allow magic shops, potion shops, scroll shops in your game?
I started up here in first and second edition, and it's gone steadily down ever since.
Yep.
I agree.
Me too. It was part of my Monty Hall period. And then I've just toned it down more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah. But I can't be blamed. The City Greyhawk box set has that baked in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The magic item shop.
It does.
I have the occasional, but those are more. I have the esoteric, like the person selling components and stuff for spells, for instance.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Components I would always waffle on. If it was something significant that had a price tag attached to it.
But those are more like the ones that go out and collect and whatever, and then they have someone who goes around and purchase that from. Yeah.
See, I don't have a problem with healing potions or an occasional you find you're lucky you get a heroism potion on a shelf.
We always call that I have a potion guy.
Yeah, the guy. Yeah, exactly.
They're like, I want to go see my potion guy, and then we roll to see how many potions he has available. And, it could be someone in an alley or whatever.
Yeah, but when computer games came around, role-playing games and computer games, then it became a thing. And so I guess you got influenced by D&D Online, World of Warcraft, or whatever. They were full of these shops and Diablo and whatever. So yeah.
Where I think things got really squirrely D&D wise was when maybe it was Pathfinder did it first. I can't remember. They put the magic items in the same book that the players have access to. Mm-hmm. So now the players know the prices for things, and it's
an
harder
organized
for the
play is a killer for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And organized play is a killer because you have that on the
Agreed.
the sheet
Yeah,
and stuff. So
Casey.
Yeah, stealing bags of flour and doors and
yeah,
stuff for money.
yeah, because everything is on
Yeah,
that sheet when you get it, and you can see what you can get. All the
Lynn
treasure
was
is
talking
there. Yeah.
earlier about the minutia of appraising gems and things, and also selling doors and other things. You know, acquired. You know, fencing stuff is something we hand wave a lot. I think in
But to me,
D&D.
it's kind of ridiculous. If you go around stealing doors in one end of the town, you sell it at least to the next town. Otherwise, someone will see that, oh, that's the door that is used to be over there, and they will arrest
I
you for
want
thieving. Yeah.
to. I want to play in one of Casey's games, and you go into a building door,
Hmm.
door. You got to go like through 3 doors to get into a house.
Yep.
oh, that would be awesome.
Yep.
So I've learned that.
That were Dungeon doors
Yeah,
mostly. That's awesome.
I know we're just busting your stones. We I've gotten away from the buying of magical items more and more and more. Now, there's
Yeah.
a place that I really like that was written up in the Norwell Post Living Greyhawk, and it's called Carrier's Trading Post. And it's a mess, and there's stuff just thrown all over the place. So it reminds me of like a thrift store. And if you're lucky to, yeah, and it's written up in there, and they can go in, and Alan's one character has actually done trades for stuff back and forth. And if you guys watched the last week, she traded a suit of banded armor, I think, or ringmail or something, and she got a potion. She didn't know what it was, and so right in the middle of the fight, she goes, "I have no idea what this is going to do." And she took it, it turned her gaseous form, and she was out the whole fight because you can't go on gaseous until the duration's off. So
Nice.
yeah, there's stuff like that. But yeah, Greyhawk Pawn Stars extort. I don't mind the randomness of it, but I really, really have gotten away from, I prefer scrolls to be given out by churches as gifts or as you're doing this for us. Here's this in compensation,
That's that's how I will handle it. Meaning the healing, meaning churches and others. It's a service they
Yeah.
provide to the loyal ones, and also you will have. Meaning a powerful organization, take for example Horn Society, whatever. If you're a high valued member of the cult, you will be given what's needed in order to do it, so to speak. So the purchase, meaning selling to the general public. No, but I can maybe in big cities like Greyhawk, you can have the equivalent of Sotheby's or something. You can have like an auction house or some sort of a house that occasionally they simply say, oh, we have treasure that is out for sale, meaning someone wants to sell their magic weapons and magic armor and stuff, and then it will be like a bidding war, and just to get in you have to be part of an elite or something, or yeah.
I have the perfect, and Lord Forth has asked, how about making or paying a wizard to make magic items? I'm going to tell you what I do. So we have this high level, and it's actually a High Mound Tower. It's on the map. It's on the county of Ulick. It's on the border of Saline. Anna put it there. We have our 21st level mage. So our guys used to go, oh, I want to go see him, and I want to go get something permanent seed. And so they get there, and they're like, okay, come back in 2 years. That's because he's so that busy. It's that simple. You're just too busy to do anything.
Exactly. I take a lot of wizards and
make them
also
too
temples
busy.
and stuff. Hey, it's a service they render. They earn money on it. So I can definitely see that they can cast spells for money, so to speak, and wizards can produce scrolls and all sorts of stuff to the right customer for the right money.
You have to be careful because if you have crafty players, okay, I'm going to bash my own guys. You let someone do it, they all get to do it. So
no, but it's you have to be friendly with them. Meaning a wizard doesn't give up secrets to anyone just because
self-crafting. Okay, so the scroll making. Well, in my downtime, and I have an adventure in 9 months, I'm going to make 14 scrolls. No. It's not happening. I learned that later.
That's why I think that material components are really necessary to enforce. That's something I enforced more and more over time, especially the valuable, most difficult. Meaning that there are certain things, if they require 1,000 gold piece diamond or something to cast, that means that you have to go out and find one of these for every time you cast a spell. So and some of it might not be worth have an economic value, but some of it is hard to find, meaning you have to find bat guano and stuff. So sometimes I do that when I
I
can see. Yeah.
liked the old first, second edition item creation rules. I did not like it when third edition went to, oh, spend some XP, auto success.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What edition charged XP to create magic? Was that third or fourth? I don't know.
It's third.
Yeah, but it
XP
was a way
charged
to invest your life essence into the.
But I think
the
it's
thing.
unfair on wizards. You know, if you're relying on
Yeah.
your wizard
Yeah.
character in
Yeah,
the group to furnish
Yeah,
stuff for
what I
everyone.
did that. Yeah, I took that you took like con damage or something temporarily. You got exhausted and had to spend your con and int and stuff. So you got drained basically for a while before
Yeah.
when you invest in the item. And that's one of the things that also makes it harder you can't mass produce them things, because if you do, then you will constantly go around blabbing idiot who will be enfeebled and weak.
So Extort says there's a great Living Fantasy, Gygax's Living Fantasy, Gygax Fantasy Worlds Volume 3 has a lot on this. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yep.
So, yeah, I look at it as you need the DM needs as much control as possible while keeping the game enjoyable for your players, and your players need to have fun with it. And just, I think that a non-adventuring player is not sitting around writing scrolls all day long. The adventuring player is enjoying their downtime, whether they're smoking their pipe weed or they're going out and carousing, whatever, and just whatever works for each game. Tim, you're absolutely right on that. And there's ways, they want to spend their money, and that's great. And I just have note that a lot of the higher level characters in my campaign, they want their own lands and keeps down the road, so they're saving their money most of the time, which is a good thing. So I would buy it.
We have wise players who want to invest, and yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Oh, so that's long gone, Jason. That's a shame. So you can't even get that.
You can get it as PDF, I think, on Drive-Thru or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think I have some of them in books that I bought back in the day when they came out. So yeah.
Alrighty. So what we got question-wise? Does Pathfinder still have the 3 item creation feats? I'm assuming they do. Yeah.
Yes. They have various. I haven't read through the
I don't know
PF2.
about 2.
Oh,
exactly. I was just going to say they have crafting rules for 2. I haven't read them in detail, but yes, they have crafting rules for a PF2 as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Nagoya, Joe. Yeah, this is good. I knew it was going to be a nebulous subject, and we're going to go all over the place with it, but it's definitely a cool discussion.
Yeah.
Definitely is a cool discussion.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting both because it ties into both world building and actual hands-on running the adventures and manage characters and all that players.
It's central to just the game itself.
Yeah.
Is economy and resource management.
Yeah. So, and it's also how much you want money and wealth to play a part in your campaign. Meaning, do you want to overstate the importance of money and take it as a kind of a game mechanic, or is it just for flavor? And I've played in games where it's just for flavor and didn't play much of a role, but in other games it's really part of games mechanic, and you have to keep track of every silver piece, and because you're going to need it, and if you don't have
the game I'm running right now is set up in Krusty.
Nice.
And I think the most I've doled out now is like 500 gold pieces. Now this is over like 3 or 4 players, and they still really haven't asked to purchase anything. I'm thinking, well, they're in an area where I think they know that money's not as important, and other stuff is more important to them. And I didn't really have to prompt any of that. And of course, I think 5th edition feels to me that it's less dependent on money than previous editions.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the players seems to be more of vagabonds. You don't have the rules of characters settling down and stuff like you had in 1st edition, where they were basically assumed to get their castle and their title or whatever.
I've had players retire their characters
Yeah.
like at third level or whatever, when they got enough money. And I think it was just an out so that they could try a different character.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And like, oh, by third level they know, this ain't
Yeah.
character I really want to
Yeah.
play. I'll retire with my 100 gold pieces.
But
Yeah.
you see, it's interesting, Jay, because this is an aspect that you have really gone into making some awesome, cool world building, really detailed, so to speak, way beyond what most campaigns even aspire to do.
Well, and thank you for that. And
Yeah.
here's my solution to a lot of this with note all our venturing groups are all named, right? And
Yeah.
if they're out of a city, and there's some that aren't, like, but if you're out of Altamira, if you're out of Harby, or you're out of Greyhawk, you have to join the guild, the adventurers guild in each town, and it's kind
Yeah.
of like almost like in the BattleTech, the mercenary guild hall. Every adventures get posted there, and it kind of they control the legal aspect of hiring, and they take a cut of it, and you have to be a member of the guild, the Adventurers Guild, and it kind of fits in with the Free Sword Permit and Greyhawk. And that way, I saw there's which groups are higher up and which groups are down at the bottom, and it's kind of a little bragging right thing. It works.
Are all the characters members of an adventuring groups, or do you have adventurers groups and stuff that are not part of that, and they do other things?
So there are characters that are not parts of adventuring groups. A lot of them are higher level Knights of Ulick or some miscellaneous, like but we've kind of named a lot of them, like even the Vespi group. What do we call the Vespi group, Bill? We call them the Vespi group, right? And it's it's like 6 or 7 characters, and they're higher level, but we just call them the Vespi group because they're in the Vespi. They don't have a specific name, but we tend to, all the ones out of, kind of like what's in the From the Ashes box set, right? They have all the listings, they have all the different groups: Wasm, Qualas, Golden Scimitar, and the Breakers, and the Corellan's Arrows. And that's kind of where I got the idea from. Was, wow.
I disappointed my players suddenly because they haven't ever really gone for company names. I think the only one that ever had any legs was in second edition, and I always hated the name. It was the Brotherhood, I guess, of Greyhawk. But I'm thinking, I associate that with the Scarlet Brotherhood, but they couldn't come up with something better than the Brotherhood.
Well, it could be worse. You could be named the Omega Patrol, which I got to deal with tomorrow night, which is definitely the worst. We have some cheesy ones, but and Tim's going to argue with that we could never decide on a group name in my Greyhawk game. Here's what happens, Amy, and what I do. If they don't decide, I decide for them. And that happened with the group in Altamira that has the Jester as the leader, because they didn't decide on a group, and he took it upon himself, and he registered it at the guild hall, and his name's Theodore Craxus, and they're now named Theo's Heroes. There you go. That's what happens. So if you don't name yourself, I'm going to name you. So it was voted on. Last patrol you'll need. It was. I don't know who voted on it, Tim. I just think you and Alan decided that, and we went with
so in the game we played on Saturday, did that group have a name? Can it be Coaster's Commando?
I asked for, so during Virtual Greyhawk Con, I said, do you want to name yourself? I said it at the very beginning. Now,
I guess I missed that.
The Bandit Kingdom group is named Cannon, Canon Fodder. They got a name, and they're in the guild as well. The Geoff Living Greyhawk people is the Barrier GYKS, the Barrier Geeks. So they have a name too, and they came up with it, and so we got, yes, exactly. And the Barrier Geeks, yep. And so they have their names, but that kind of got slipped by in that Saturday game because everyone was so excited to play. But I said that a couple times. You guys want to call yourself something, you can. Yes, well, you can think, Mike, you're part of that group. You got you got
I was playing the type of character who would have suggested that.
Who would have said, "Oh, it's got to be our." Yeah, absolutely. But I like that. How about different culture?
Should have been Benedor's band or something.
It could have been. It could have been.
Yeah.
There was your opportunity, or the
Damn it.
yeah. How about different culture for trade? There's been a lot of discussion with guilds. There's a very rare enchanted type of tree that. So I'll tell you something, Canadian, that gets traded at a high rate. That's rare elixirs, alcohol. Right? You have your special ones. That's another one. So
Yeah.
you're talking about wood. A rare type of tree.
Luke's pukes. Yep.
Yeah, Luke's pukes. That's not right, Tim. That's just terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever come up with alternate currencies.
Yeah,
I
but
have had stuff like furs traded and other commodities, but
Yeah, I see that different.
here's how you pronounce. Here's how you spell it. Renee. That's how you spell it there. Extort. Renee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
But I can see different, meaning the dwarves are obsessed about their precious metals and stuff they dig out of the earth, and elves have different types of wood. And also, I would take works of art and stuff, and meaning they can grow. I can see them grow special trees and stuff that into something, and seeds from various famous trees and stuff like that. That they can have acorns from the most awesome oak in the forest, can be worth a fortune to have saplings or the acorns or the seeds or something from some plant that is fantastic. Druids the same way. People in old faith and stuff, they can have things from the forest that you can grow with, and that can be, or truffles from an area that are the most yummy ones ever, and stuff like that can be seen for some as a delicacy beyond anything. So I can see them having different. Spider web, spider silk, for instance.
I'm going to try that sometime. Tim says spices. I'm going to have them open a chest.
Yeah,
It's just going to be packed with saffron. What?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's saffron.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we going to do with that?
Yeah, but back in the before you had food preservatives and refrigeration and all that, then you can have spices. But that's the other thing, is like in a world where you have magic, then you can have refrigeration. So but the magic way, so to speak. So you can have an ice cream shop. I had one in Real Devon. There were some halflings and stuff. They had an ice cream parlor, and because they had teamed up with some that could cast cold spells and stuff. So they actually made ice cream and stuff. So they had yummy ice cream. That was one of the
I'll have to suggest
delights of the city, was that you can go and get ice cream.
So that is priceless. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I didn't call it that. It was like frozen whatever something. It was frozen milk, sweet frozen something, and so on. I didn't use the word ice cream. It was like the frozen milk parlor and all sorts of stuff. So yeah.
So in my Highport one-on-one campaign, when I think it was during Tim's college, when he was back during the summers, and he would play skeeve, he set up this front in Highport. This is pre-wars, guys, and he made a bakery. And he sold the most yummy muffins, right, Tim?
Yeah.
And that's how he met his current character wife, Lady Valencia Page. Mm-hmm. She came there every morning to get those wonderful muffins he made.
But things like that in a campaign can make flavor in the game. Speak. And it's also something that you invest your players into liking a place or something, because then when you attack it or something bad happens and stuff, the characters have something to defend. That gives them a purpose and stuff. And that's something that I've been really bad at over a long part of my career as a DM, and now I'm trying to rectify it. And now I have to admit to my players, I'm terrified of running games online. So we'll see. I need to get over that hurdle, because I feel and because I'm so used to this technology, so I should be able to, but it's a big hurdle. But that's something for some other show. Yeah.
Yeah, so Amy asked, we named roads and bars after real local roads and bars that were in our town back then, because we're just
But there's something I saw in a living Greyhawk adventure that is the Inn of the Golden Arches. I stole that right away. I think it's, so I stole that right away. I thought that was brilliant. So, I don't know if that was officially sponsored by the Golden Arches company, or not, but I think it was a great idea. So, and White Castle burgers, that's something I stole when I came here. So in Real Devon, there is an inn that is called the White Castle, and they have yummy patties between bread, so to speak. They don't call them hamburgers, but they had a White Castle inn that had yummy pieces of meat and yummy bread and stuff, and onions and things, so, and tomato paste and stuff on it. So
eat.
Yeah. We had some names, and Tim, do not type them in of that were really not for this day and age. Back when we were, oh,
Yeah,
that's funny, but
yeah.
that's in the
But
past.
you can make a lot of character and flavor in your adventure if you think things through. It should be a little bit
That's
silly
right,
and it can
Wang
be fun.
Chungs.
Yeah. Mhm.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Everybody
Well,
have
now we
fun
get
tonight.
off tangents here,
Oh,
but
it's okay. We're
alleviate
winding down.
characters of money by selling interesting things that the characters want to pay for. It's especially in low-level adventures that could be something fun.
Gary, we will find out how boring Niron is next week.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we're going to
That
find
was
out about Niron a lot next
yeah.
week. So
Yeah. But
look at it. I have a feeling we're actually going to end this show on time for once. Oh my gosh.
okay. Well, yeah. We
I actually
done
had
that
two
for- okay. Yeah.
miscellaneous things that I wanted to
Go for it, man.
from the I wanted to bring up.
Money wise.
So in the City of Greyhawk box set, there's a lot of really high priced things.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if these are the three highest, but I kind of jotted them down as I recalled, and this is purely just for wow factor.
That's good.
So one, outside the city is Lord Blackfair's manor, I believe, who
Yep.
raises horses.
Yep.
And he has his prize stud horse, Father Black,
Yeah,
is been offered, I think,
10,000.
something like. No, I think it's like 100,000.
Has it been?
Oh, wow.
50 to 100,000 gold pieces for this horse, one horse. There are other breeds, thoroughbreds and whatever, that are in that 1,000 to 5,000 range. So if you want to get players to, drop a lot of money and they ride horses, send them there, right? Because then they'll just be wowed with the back.
But then you have to give. Then they will ask for the stat block for
Okay.
that horse. So
Yeah,
you have to make it faster or better or something. Yeah.
So
then two.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, Jay. What?
we've had Black Fair adventures where they've gotten
Awesome.
lesser ones, but they're super, max hit points, fast moving rate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we
Custom.
actually have them in
Unique
our
horse.
campaign and our adventuring groups.
Yep.
They have never gotten the
I love
high
it.
one, but they've gotten access to some of the really expensive, nice. Yep, good, great
I
one,
love
great
that.
one. Yep.
All right, so two real quick. The city, the Citadel in the City of Greyhawk has a vault. This is a big spoiler, but I got to throw it out because my players actually tried to get this vault.
Where was it?
This is below the Citadel, up
Okay.
in the
Yep. Okay.
northeast corner of the city. The vault, it says on average, so it's really up to DMs, each DM, what's in the vault, and the vault has all these defenses. But the average it suggests is 500,000 gold pieces.
Oh my gosh.
Of
Thank you.
metal value. So I always thought, if you want to do an Ocean's 11 campaign, try to knock
Yeah.
over the Greyhawk City vault, and then watch them try to spend that.
Well, I learned a lesson. And I think I've told this story. And Canadian, thank you. Look, old school D&D's hanging out here. They get the Jim Ward game once a week. So that's awesome to see you on, man. Thank you.
Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's wonderful. And remember, because we have so many subs now, and I'm not complaining. Thank you so very much. I've changed it to give subs an extra bonus point on tickets, on giveaways, because that's the easiest way to do it for giveaways, all except for the one, which is the Miniature Building Authority quarterly one. We'll do that the old way. So what the hell was I saying? Oh, I learned a lesson.
Yeah.
Tim has his Leuven and Alan had Sam, an 18th and 17th and 16th level halfling thieves at that time. They ripped this guy off. It was an alchemist potion maker, and he was miserable and a crabby. And they stole. I mean, I don't even want to know the value of it. And I learned, don't go there. Because no matter what defenses you put up, they're going to get in, right? And they're going to steal it. And that was the last time I ever did that. And then these guys had potions they didn't know what to do with for ages. Yeah, so you got to be careful. Yeah, but can you imagine going down there? You got to put like some of the nastiest, like golems that are immune to all spells and stuff, crazy stuff. Yeah. So yeah, he had a massive vault, Tim. I remember. Don't remind me of that. Yeah. So
the last one I wanted to point out was in this book, it says the Great Library of Greyhawk has all these rare tomes and everything. If players were somehow able to acquire the great library of Greyhawk or steal all the books in the library, which I would say is impossible.
Yeah.
It actually gives a price for all those books in that library, and that's 1,000,000 gold pieces.
Wow.
Okay.
So
when I read that, I was like, wow.
and there's only what 5 beholders that are invisible in there. There's at least 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
A lot of wizards would be
that's what I
looking for,
call a
yeah.
good guard dog. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good alarm system.
Not an easily gained.
Giveaway: if you do expeditions to the ruins of Greyhawk, you're going to come across one in that one section. So yeah, check out Carlos's library.
So the other thing I wanted to get out of the way, the last thing really
You're
on
good,
my
man.
list before I got everything scratched off, was I had this little thought experiment that's been needling at me for a long time, and I've tried to do it, threw it away. Occasionally come back to it, and it's kind of on topic for this, and that's in, I don't know if it's just 5th edition or this would work with any edition of D&D, but I'm trying to figure out a way, maybe there's someone smarter out there in the audience than me, some way to convert 1 copper piece by using goods, items, services, crafting magic items, whatever means, to convert that 1 copper piece to 50,000 gold pieces. And so you could get a castle. So converting one, so like at low levels, it starts with spending that copper piece to invest in
something. Yeah,
invest in something, and then or craft something that then has this value.
Yeah.
And then you trade it for this item. And I haven't been able to connect the dots, but someday I want to figure out how to turn a gold piece or turn a copper piece into a castle. I know it can be done.
Wow. So like you're trading the bean, the one bean all the way.
Cheesing the D&D system.
Yeah.
Do we all agree that 10 coins equals 1 pound, or is that wrong?
It depends on the edition. No, I think
it used 50.
Oh yeah, I think they look back in old medieval coins. They were flimsy little pieces, so you can have hundreds before you get to a pound if you want to use that analogy. But so that way they're not that valid. But I want them to be a little bit more substantial, I think. But there are rules in at least in 3rd edition and Pathfinder and stuff. There are rules for how much coins weigh. Yeah.
So Gary, that's a great idea for this. He said that Gary, there's a flower for future stuff. There's a flower in the Isle of Dread that whole wars have been fought over. Pretty neat. Dark Sun chits from Josh there, throwing out the Dark Sun. A gold piece would be pretty. I think it's 10 equals 1 pound just out of ease. 100 coins is 10. Yeah, so that's it. 10's 1. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Decimal currency never made sense for D&D. So, yeah. Once again, money is all over the place depending on the edition you play. And you set your pace, you set your money as a DM, you have fun with it, and you just run with it. And as long as your players are enjoying what you're doing, it doesn't matter. And that's the best thing. Have fun with the game. Make Greyhawk your own, and that's where we're going to have some cool announcements. I got some pretty interesting backstory detail on what's going on tomorrow night. Anyone else have any final questions? We'll be a little late, 10, 15 minutes, not unlike the normal. Enforce fun, that's it. Yeah, definitely. Please, one more time. I'm going to do this. I've done this multiple times before we do the shout outs. I'm going to do this now. Click on this Tiny Earl Com adventure Kickstarter for Trollord Games. They are up to 349 backers for their Kickstarter. I know myself. I know Phantom have done it, and a couple others, and it's a really good one just to check out, see what they got to offer there for their books coming up for their new edition, which is pretty neat. So give that a shot, and look at that. Oh, look, too late. So too late, Monk, for Skageth. Hey, man, to hear I said the word monk tonight, I apologize. So there you go. But you missed it. You missed it. So awesome. Alrighty. So Gary is Pluffet Smedger extort. Gary Julian, Pluffet Smedger. So take 1 copper. All right, Anna, what's going on tonight? What do you got going on?
I just posted on my Patreon. I haven't made it to my website or the Flanies Geographical Society yet, but they will be posted there too. I made two posts. One that I've shown what the first examples of the heraldry appendix for the atlas that I'm really proud of. I think it looks really, really cool. So what the heraldry will look like. I've actually made the heraldry look into like beaten metal shields with a little bit of shine and stuff. So a bit of Photoshop magic have turned them into actually looking not like just plain vector graphics, but actually look like hammered shield with with some rivets and stuff in it. That looks kind of cool. And so that's now underway. So that will be, I will try and do at least like one new page per day. I don't know exactly how many will be, 10, 15, 20 or something like that. It's about 100 and something, probably about 100 shields, that pieces of heraldry that's going to be in the appendix. So I don't know how many, 6, 8 or 10. So maybe 10, 15 pages, like something like that. So that is coming. And I also made another post where I put some more information and screenshots and stuff for the new generation of Greyhawk maps with some more examples and stuff. And none of the examples are done yet. So that it's only halfway done, but they're still impressive looking. So it's still kind of cool to get a sense of what a campaign map with 5 feet per pixel resolution can look like, where you can actually see the terrain like a satellite photo. And then you have some issues with that, but that I'm going to bring up for some other discussion with the backside, the flip side, or the flop side to maps like that too. But those are the big thing that is going on. Is the new generation of Greyhawk maps have gotten its first kind of outing and showing, and because I've been able to do river systems really well, lake, rivers, and swamplands in a kind of procedural way, so I don't have to sit and handcraft all of that because it doesn't look good and it takes forever. So I put in all the major rivers by hand. Where I want them, I place them manually in the terrain, and the rest is generated procedurally. And most of it actually looks really, really good. It works really well. So that is something I'm really proud of. It took me 5 years to figure out how to do that. So it's not for the faint of heart who wants to get into 3D terrain creation. It's to create rivers and river systems. It's very, very hard. It's probably the hardest thing you can get into when it comes to virtual terrains. Because the tools are so primitive in this area, so you need to do a lot of programming and stuff to make it work yourself. So those are the two big things that I'm working on. So the first heraldry, the appendix, is underway, and it looks really, really good. In my opinion, it's some of the coolest things I've done so far in when it comes to presentation. It looks really good.
It's crazy.
So I can put the links to both my website and the Patreon. And since we're still in pandemic times, then all my Patreon posts are open to everyone. So it's not hidden behind a paywall. So I want to make sure that I'm inclusive in dire times like this. So I don't want to force anyone to pay me money to get it, so to speak. All of it will be free eventually, but during the pandemics, it's free right away. So I'm just so grateful to everyone who able to support me with a little bit of money every month, because that makes it possible for me to do so much of this. And I have a great time doing it, and it's fantastic. So thank you. Yeah.
And Anna, it's just amazing. So go and check that out, because that email went out, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at this! Look at the level of detail on this. It's just
Yeah.
it's insane." And please note that Anna also was kind enough to do another quickie custom edit for my adventure tomorrow night, and I'll show that in a second. Note one other thing: you guys have been so great tonight, and there's been so many people on that. If there's this many on tomorrow night, there's no doubt I'll have 2 giveaways for Reaper instead of 1 tomorrow night. So don't worry about it. So, all right, definitely we got the mini, so we'll do 2 tomorrow night with this kind of crowd. So, Mike, what's going on?
Oh, you know me, just blogging. Today I put up my latest Ring of 5 questions with Carlos and my
Nice.
friend Jason. So check that out. See what you think of their answers. maybe you have your own. Email me.
Can Anna add the Patreon link on her website? She, Coma, it's right there. She just
Yeah.
linked it here. I'll
Yeah,
link
it
it
is.
again.
It is on my website too. I think there
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
button there.
yeah.
If I remember correctly, I have to check
At
it.
Anna
Also.
at greyhawkmaps.net, right?
No,
No,
it's
that's your email. That's your
annabmeyer.com. Yeah,
yeah, that was your email. Yeah.
it's okay. Yeah.
Well, Mike, we'll see what they have to say. That's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. What else? Are you playing this? Are you playing when you're back in your barbarian
I
game?
hope so. I really hope so. You know, as the weather gets progressively colder, my friends do less and less. So I'm hoping to get back to my ice barbarian campaign.
I hope so
Cool.
too,
Be
Yeah.
good.
man. Sounds
Oh yeah,
fun.
ice barbarians.
Barbarians are awesome.
Shoot, I started working on a regional map.
Nice.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
I know you guys can't see
That's
No, but
okay.
much
we
of the
want to.
detail, but
Yeah.
You
trust
see
me,
Attila land. That's pretty neat.
Chorus Mountains, and this is a stream that runs up to one of the
Attila
fjords of
Land,
the
Taival
ICC,
Tundra.
High
Ooh.
Tundra.
Oh, it's awesome. Yes, I love it. Yep.
Yep. And you know these are 30-mile hex.
Yeah, and it's a
It's
river that
really
flows
zoomed in.
north. I love all the new rivers that flows north.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Yes,
fun.
it does.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Yep.
Barbarians.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that I'm also playing in Frank at Nightheart games tomorrow. In their I'm playing in their Greek themed adventure tomorrow night. So yeah.
I promise to raid into it, so you spend all your time on my site, then you go into that one.
Okay.
I'm just
yep.
kidding.
Yep.
Whatever one you want to watch, of
Yep.
course. I'm
Yep.
just being a smartass.
No,
So,
but that's so yeah. So
Mike, think about since you brought it back up. Think about a reasonable name for that adventuring group in case it ever gets back together, or we use any of the characters or even some of them, because I'm trying to get
It's gonna have to
James
be
Jacobs
something.
and Jason Bowman to play. So
Okay,
I don't know if I'm going to
'cause
push that with Luke and Eric again, unless it's a very special
Yeah,
situation.
because then it'll be Ralish as Renegades or something.
Yeah, exactly. But definitely think on that. All right, so let me go to what's going on next couple days. Thank you, Mike and Anna, for a wonderful, wonderful show. This show, I'm going to be very optimistic and say I am very pleasantly surprised how much this is probably some of the most. The chat is really, really active tonight, and I really appreciate
Who
that.
knew? They all knew something about.
Everyone is interested in taxes and
yes,
getting
yes, and getting fleeced. All right,
Yep.
tomorrow night is adventure number 892. Okay, it's called Awakening of the Terrors. It's 2 weeks. Just another day, it says, in the county of Ulick, and we'll have Reaper Miniatures giveaway sponsor drawing, and I'm assuming if we have this many people on, we'll definitely have 2. I guarantee that. Oh, Mike, what? Whoop! This one will have, and I'm going to show you. Hopefully, we cover adventuring deductions on taxes. Now, George, we did not, unfortunately, because but we've covered some other things. Look at that. Why is that blank? Okay, so here we are. Here's the map that Anna edited. And if you go over to the S in the Lord Mill Mountains, the big black S here, you see Defiles End, which is at the basically the end of the Druid Defiles passage. And you will see some, sounds like horror we need. Thanks, Skagith. You'll see some really cool things on my table for this, and that's where the adventure will start. Already in the county of Ulick. And if you haven't seen the pictures, we have the map at the end of the Gord novels. Is that what? Really? The map at the end of the Gord novels? I don't understand that, Josh.
Oh, there is
part of the Lord Mills.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have one that covers the central part of the.
Oh, okay.
Middle of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're different ones in different books.
Oh, when your screen went black, that's funny. So, I don't know if Mike disconnected.
No, I think he just said he would be right back. So
he said he'd be right back. Okay.
Yeah.
This one I got some development on history, you'll actually come across some Hateful Wars lore in our game, which I haven't gone over that much. But if you all know, I have a character. If you've watched Blue Box, and I'm going to put the shield up. I have Sir Harn, which his first name is Harcourt, by the way. There's his shield in the upper left-hand corner, and you have seen Shorewin carry that. He's an ex-squire, Sir Harn. Walt has two players, they're twins, Honorian and Ariana. They're actually the daughters of Sir Harn and another character, Lena. So they're half-elves. And they'll be on this adventure, and there's going to be a connection to the Hateful Wars and the Harn family that is revealed tomorrow night's adventure. So it'll be kind of cool. Tommy John Kelly and I already talked to him, has promised to put this in his Hateful Wars memoirs that he's working on. So I already gave him this information. So no, Hateful Wars happened in the Lort Mills when the Ulick States, Selene, all drove the humanoids out of the Lort Mills, and most of them were killed, but a lot of them went through the Lort Mills south, Sus Forest, and took over the Pomarge. So that's where we are. Now, there's a reason why he's named Harcourt. You got to think TV shows. So if you can get that connection, he's the champion of the County of Ulick. So the Blue Box has been fantastic. John's been absolutely crazy. So that's on. I've droned off enough on that. But there'll probably be multiple giveaways from Reaper on tomorrow night. There'll be definitely at least one. So another great. Where is it? See, now I lost something here. All right, the next Gavin. Get no interviews this time. So I'm going to go over the Fenton Harcourt. No. Yes. Harcourt Fenton Mudd. You got it. Harcourt Fenton Mudd from Star Trek is where I got the name. There you go. It's Harcourt Fenton Mudd. He's the bad guy in 2 Star Treks in the old days. So, yep. Close. All right. Joining discussion is Anna. We're going to go over my Shieldlands recent history in the campaign, the custom map edit. It's kind of similar to what Anna did in her seminar, except I'm going to go over and I'm actually going to show all the pictures from all the adventures we've done and where we are to this point, because I want to get this done by the end of the year. We have one major high-level adventure to do still, and then Anna can throw in a lot of stuff that is a little different in her campaign, and people who want to participate, please, tell us about your Shieldlands campaigns. The Shieldlands, I think, is the most diversely done area out of all the different areas.
It's a very interesting adventure area.
Yeah, because there's so much going on. There's so much that was destroyed. Maybe the Bandit Kingdoms too. But Anne Brown coming soon. It's being worked on, Gary. There's a lot of stuff. Yes. No, Harry Mudd did not sell tribbles. That was Cyrano Jones. There you go. I got you there, Jason. Cyrano Jones was the one who sold tribbles. So see, I'm up on my old Star Trek. So we'll see that on Sunday. Plus, I'm going to show and something I haven't talked about, and that is my custom knight class. There's a Knight of the Holy Shielding, a Knight of Ulick, and a Knight of the Heart, and they're all like separate subclasses of the knight class. And we're going to discuss that because the Knight of the Holy Shielding is very, very important in the Shieldlands. And I got that idea from 3rd edition and pilfered it, and a combination of that and Dragonlance, the Knights of the Rose, and kind of merged it together because I hated prestige classes and turned it into a 1st level edition class, and we'll go over that as well on Sunday next week. I got next 2 weeks for Legends and Lore. Tomorrow, next week, and Gary, we're going to do Living Greyhawk Nyrond next Wednesday. We know Renee Ayala is coming, and we're hoping to get a couple more. So looking forward to getting them in and discussing what happened in Nyrond during the Living Greyhawk days. And that'll be an interesting discussion. The Living Greyhawk ones are always fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that one. And so I had a topic for next week, and then I forgot about this. I thought it was, I got my dates all mixed up again. Hot news. That's great. That means you got another one, Casey. Who is it? Who's coming with Renee? That's great to say hot news. I like when you say that.
Yeah.
So here is the week after, the week of Halloween. This is not, this will be fun. This will be another fun discussion like tonight. Famed Monsters of Greyhawk, and that'll be in 2 weeks. All right. named famed monsters. We'll see Morgenstaller and Dragotha and Strahd and a
Okay.
lot. What's that? Yes, and you can be as small from a Sakatha. There's another one, right? So it'll be some. Mike, think about that. There's probably some
Yeah,
from
no, the challenge will be not coming up with dragons.
exactly.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
Yeah.
We were going to be started
Yeah.
thinking about should we do a dragon show about dragons?
Costs.
Because we
That's
did-
what. Yeah.
Mike, do you and me? We did
Yeah.
back like 3
From-
years ago or something.
That's
but,
correct.
Yeah.
There's
but
another.
then we kind of
Yeah.
advanced and said that what about including all sorts of monsters? So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see where this goes, and if we have to fill it with dragon here and there, do dragon
Can't
separately.
be worse than the economy shows.
This was, so you just need to know some named monsters. Yeah, I think it'll be a great discussion to kick off that Halloween week.
That's yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and note this. So after the day after that, and let me hit this button here. I will have a Halloween special with my players that Bill's working on some cool things for a one-shotter the night after that on Thursday, October 29th. And I may even dress up. We'll see.
Yeah.
So during
we've had Halloween shows before. We talked about undeads and stuff. So
yes, so this will be a
that's
good one.
Obvious. We need to have an undead show or something coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think our first Legends and Lore
I think so,
Undead with Alan Grohe joined us. I think our
Yeah, I
very
think
first
so.
one on this
Yep.
channel.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
that's what's going on. Please note this is being planned. If you didn't see this on Sunday night, I think you all did. But the Greyhawk Mega Stream fundraiser event for February, third week in February, we'll have a meeting. We'll do Underdark Uprising, which will be cool. And it's going to be, if I have all those channels participating, it may be as much as 32 hours of straight Greyhawk content every 4 hours. And just let's see how much we can raise. We did 2,500 last year. I think we can crush that this year with the direction the whole community has gone. So thank you all for a great night. Look at that. We're only 15 minutes past. Now the question is who to raid into tonight.
Yeah. Well, who's left?
Well, Wiley's on, but he's finishing up. Praters is on, and Will's on. Will didn't get raided into from Blue Box last night, so Virtual Kargoth Con. Oh man,
Yeah.
Gary.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You never know. We may do something with Death Knights coming up. Thank you. Another great discussion. I appreciate that. We had a lot of fun tonight.
Thank you.
I'm going to just go right into Will tonight. I don't think he's doing Greyhawk, but that doesn't matter. So we'll see you all tomorrow night. Remember, tomorrow night's the giveaway. Have some fun. And the terrain is like some of the the terrain, I believe, is some of the best I've ever done. There you go. It's got the inn. It's got miniature building authority. It's got Gamescape. It's got some it's got some Reaper. It's just it's a nice setup. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with everyone tomorrow night. And I guess we'll see you tomorrow night.
Yep.
By the way, I've not heard from Twitch yet. It's been well over a week. I've not heard about my last partnership submission. Wish me luck, please.
Table flip.
Yeah.
If we get it, it'll help the community, and that's it will help us, but it'll help the community a lot. So, thank you.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Where's my store? That's my basement, Romans. That's not a store. That's my
It's
basement.
unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see tomorrow night, man. 7:30 p.m. EDT. Yep. All right, let me set the raid up.
I don't know, Jay. How much unopened game stuff do you have in that basement?
Unopened? Not much.
Unopened. Not much. Okay.
No, not really.
So you wouldn't be confused for a game store.
No, well, it looks like it with all the shelving and stuff. You know how people have the books. I don't know. All right, let me get this raid going here before I babble on too much. Yeah, it'll be. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Gary. It'll become a store if my lovely wife ever is like, get out. So, all right, here we go. Raiding in. Everyone have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow night. That was awesome. That was a really good discussion.
Yeah.
You're on here
I
still?
was not really.
See you tomorrow.